I go up your ass. Wow, kiss, whoa. I go up your ass. I need a dick, but it's not yours. 100 wow, 100 whoa, 100 sip koi. I need a dick, and it's not yours. I'ma spend it on my boyfriend. And wow, bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. Press 1 for butt fun. Press 2 if you wanna follow through. Press 3 if you're gay. Press 4 for a three-way. Think about who? Think about what? Think about sluts. Do they know they're sluts? Let's find out. As a disclaimer, you're a bitch, and you should feel like a bitch. Big cookies and blank on 'em. Give the icing. So sticky. You should fuck the men again and again. Even on a dick, even on a bad day. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass. I go bend them over, slap the ass.
I make all my songs live on Twitch. You can check that out in the link down below.
Hi, welcome. How is everybody? Sorry for the wait. I had a little bit of a late one again this time. I'm gonna blame lip stain. I tried a new thing. I let it soak while I was getting ready. I wiped it off. It was a disaster. I had to fix it all. I was like, panic. So however late I would have been, that enhanced the lateness 7 million times. Lip stain. So basically there are different types of lipstick. So you can put on lipstick and it just sits on your lips and then you wipe it off later. There's lip stain, which stains your lip. So you put it on, you wipe it off. And you put on the color, and then when you wipe it off, it's not the color you put on. It's like a different color, right? But it stays there. You can drink things, you can do whatever you want, and the lipstick isn't gonna come off. Unlike lipstick, right? Lip stain is meant to be better. But this, I wiped it off, it was like purple, but it didn't look purple. It looked like I'd eaten something purple and got it all around my mouth. And it was not even whatsoever. And I'd been waiting for this for months. I actually went on the waiting list for something. I never wait for things. I waited for this, I was so excited. Did not get what I hoped for, sadly. Cody, thank you so much, I appreciate it. And Estley, I appreciate the 8 months, sweetheart, hi. Are you supposed to leave it on or remove it for the color that comes after? You meant to remove it for the color that comes after. Lip stain, you put it on. Look, Google it. There are videos of people putting lip stain on. It's a stain. So you let it soak, you wipe it off. The stain is the color that remains after you wipe it off. Man, oh my god, thanks for the 10 gifties, sweetheart. Thank you. Love the fade on the bottom left. Oh yeah, that's, so that is to hide the lip stain disaster. That is how I remedied it. Looks so intentional, doesn't it? I know. Because I'm creative like that in a pinch. Mert, thanks for the 500 bits. I appreciate it. How are you doing? I'm doing good, Nazo. I am watching The Good Place again. because I didn't actually finish all of the series. I think my life got a bit crazy towards the end of the whole thing, so I never found out how it concluded. So I'm just watching it through again. I love that show. I've only just got to the bit with the major twist. I mean, every show, every single like episode had a little bit of a twist, but this I got to the part with the major twist without any spoilers. I love you. I love you. I love you. Hell yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you, B. Hey, do you like that show about the digital guy who's digitized as well? I forgot what that Upload. I bet you liked Upload, didn't you? Rain, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Because Upload is like, it has a similar vibe to The Good Place. So does, I'm not gonna lie, Community, I feel like falls in this like little nest of like comedy. Never seen Upload either. It's good. I don't often like comedies, but I liked Upload. I think it's because it has just enough darkness in it. I mean, the premise is pretty fucking dark. French 1010, thank you so much. And Rain, thanks for the gifties as well, sweetheart. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, I think that's it. Like, normally I hate comedies like that, but Upload has a dark premise because it's about a man who died. And how, like, if I were to give my overview is really weird because anyone who's watched the show would go, oh yeah, that is what it's about, isn't it? But that's not really very, you don't really hear it this way when you watch the show. But it's basically about how capitalism monetized the afterlife and inadvertently created a hellscape for a man who goes through an entire self-development of going from a piece of shit to a genuine, actual human being throughout the show. So he becomes a better person in an awful place. After the death. Yes, after the death. The whole show is about his afterlife. Is Community also dark themed? So I haven't watched Community since a lot of personal development occurred. So I don't even know if it's still good. Because like as a kid, I liked Friends. And now I look at Friends now and I'm like, holy shit, this show is so fucking bad. Like it's so problematic. Like, right? Like Joey is fucking rapey. Oh my god, how was there a laugh track behind most of the things he said? Right? So I'm not sure. Before I endorse Community, I kind of need to watch it again now that I've grown as a person, right? But my understanding of Community is that it's a show about a bunch of people who went back to community school in adulthood for various reasons. And it's just like skit after skit. It's just like it's kind of like funny, right? But I don't know why, but I have a sneaking feeling I might have a problem with it now, so I'd have to watch it again to decide whether I like it. I'm scared to come out as bi. Do you have any advice about my parents aren't the most supportive about that? Okay, so you already know that they're not going to be supportive of you being bi. Why tell them? Like I am also bi. I never came out to my parents. I never had that discussion with any of them. I didn't give a shit what they thought of my love life, honestly. Like if they can't be trusted with just knowing who I might possibly date, they're never gonna meet my partner and they're never gonna meet my like kids or anything. I'd made that decision long ago for different reasons to you, but I was just like, it's weird that I would care what they think anyway of my love life. Like, you keep family out of your love life. If they're gonna be like sexually possessive of you and go, you're only allowed to put your genitals where I've decided you can put your genitals, that's weirdly incestuous. That is fucking weird. So if they've proven they can't be trusted with it, why are they owed the information? Just keep them out of it, would be my advice. If they don't deserve it and you already know, don't involve them. And if you still want them in your life, you just don't want their judgment in your life, just leave them out of the shit that you want to be free to do. Yeah, exactly. It's none of their business. Like, if you get a partner that's the same sex as you and that's an unexpected thing to them that they don't know, don't ever invite them to your house. Just move, don't tell them where. So they never come to your house and they never see you with your partner. And just don't bring your partner to like Thanksgiving or whatever you celebrate with them. Just either go alone or don't go to their celebrations. Just leave them completely out of your love life. Talk about anything else. Use the gray mock method if you want to. Like, you do not have to create this massive drama around accept me or be drama. There's a third option. If they cannot be trusted with all the information about you, just give them the information they can be trusted with. Like, I don't know why people are vying for their family's acceptance. What if you don't accept them? What if they're bigots and they're not the most supportive of, like, queerness? Then don't give them your queerness to hold if they can't be trusted with. You can reject them. You can reject their opinions. You can reject their influence on your life. You can reject their fucking commandment over your sexuality, because that's not a real thing. Yeah, what if you don't accept their shittiness? Don't. Leave it out. You can just be like, I will take some parenthood without a side of shittiness. I will take the celebrating birthdays together and having meals together on Sunday, but I'll leave the homophobia, thank you. That's not for me. It's not to my taste. Gets me a bit of a stomach upset. And if they ever find out in some way and they kick up a stink, be like, why the fuck do you think I didn't tell you, idiot? Like, why would I involve you in a part of my life where you would just be aggressive? I'm protecting myself from you. It sucks to protect myself from my parents, but that's what I was doing. Would you have handled it well? No, you're clearly not handling it well. But that's just me. I just kind of I'm of the opinion that I never waited for my parents to accept anything about me. Ever. But I have a different dynamic to you, probably. I was neglected. My parents didn't know anything about me, and they didn't give a shit. I would do school plays at primary school and know for a fact that my parents were not in the audience and never would be. I did a lot of parent-teacher meetings by myself. Every time I went into university and I talked about my life and why I was late for a class or whatever, they kept begging me to bring my parents in so they could have a discussion with them. That was at university. That was at college and university. They were like, can we talk to your parents? I kind of feel like you could be doing a lot better in life if we could just talk to them. We just want to have a word with them. And I was like, that's not normal and that's not happening. And even if you invited them, they would not come. So, like, I did not have very heavily involved parents who gave a shit about much, right? But one of the few things that they did give a shit about, I had this conversation in the back of a car where my stepmother, not my mother, my stepmother, so the girlfriend of my dad, said to her two kids next to me, some boys like boys and some girls like girls, and that's okay too. And if either of you like boys or girls, doesn't matter which one, I will still love you and I will still accept you for who you are. And that was really cute. And then my dad locked eyes with me and went, but not you. You're not like that, are you? My girl would never be like that. Bear in mind, this is the first time he's taken an interest about anything of my future whatsoever. And I don't know why he called dibs on it either, to be quite honest with you, because he was saving for his two stepkids' future, but not mine. Like, there was a fund that he was paying into to secure their future. I had no fund. I was his only biological child. So, like, I kind of feel like in their situation, I decided from a very young age, these two people are not smart enough to lead a good life and to make good decisions in a lot of ways. So I'm not going to let them decide how my life goes whatsoever, because I don't want to live like either of them. That would not suit me. So for me, I got to emotionally abandon them long before I ever discovered what my sexuality was. I'd lost all investment in their approval by this stage. I think it'd be much more difficult if you're like, I hope one day to invite them to my wedding and have them know my grandkids and all this sort of stuff. I was already at the point with my parents where it's like, if I had ever done a U-turn and decided I did want kids all of a sudden, neither of my parents would have ever known and ever met them. I'd have avoided them during the late stages of my pregnancy. I would have had the kid without their knowledge, and they would have never known. So, with me, I'm in a position where it's just like, I have decided how much they know and how much they don't. Abso-fucking-lutely. Nothing more, nothing less. They're invited to the shit they won't destroy, and nothing more, nothing less. And if you're worried that your parents will be like a bull in a china shop and throw tantrums over your sexuality, which is none of their business, I might state, then don't involve them in it. Protect yourself from them. They're not worthy of you. I can actually say that being myself without involving my parents and only inviting my parents for the shit they could behave themselves with granted me a fuck ton of peace. I can say it really worked out for me. I loved every moment of all the things I indulged in that my parents would hate. Absolutely. It was so peaceful to just be myself and to be able to completely disregard any parental influence whatsoever. The Discord didn't work for me. It does work. There's lots of people who are on it right now and enjoying it. Um, so like I don't know what the problem is. Maybe a mod can help you with it. You're more than welcome. There are moderators in chat right now. So does one of the mods want to talk to this person about what's going wrong? Maybe you can help them out. How would you diagnose your parents? That's not your duty. I don't try to diagnose my parents. I think that both my parents had a diagnosis, but I'm not gonna sit here and diagnose them. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, scientist, or doctor. A lot of people haphazardly throw around the term narcissist, for example, for anyone that they don't like because they have no qualifications and don't really understand jack shit. I'm not going to do that, but I do suspect that my parents had a couple of things that a doctor might diagnose about them. I don't think that my dad was non-neurotypical necessarily, but I think he had a few things that influenced his behavior. When are you planning to marry? I will never marry. Even if I find, like, the love of my life and someone that I genuinely want to be with for the rest of my existence, the only way I'd ever marry someone is for other reasons than, typical marriage reasons. Like, I would get in a vanilla, like, a lavender marriage where, like, some gay person is just trying to prove they're straight to their parents, but actually is very thoroughly gay. And we just live in the same house for tax reasons, and they just, go about their life, and I just save them from being lynched by their family. I'd totally do that. We could collaborate on life and just live together and just not mate with each other. That's fine with me. The other way, that I would marry is if, like, the only way to live together. Like, some people marry for, like, visa reasons where they're like, "Oh, I found the person I wanna spend the rest of my life with, but unless we're married, I can't legally live here." Like, I feel like I'd do it in that circumstance. But, like, I don't want a dress, I don't want a wedding, that doesn't really appeal to me. If I don't need a honeymoon. If I wanna go on holiday with a partner, I'd just take my partner on holiday. I think it's smarter to do that before you commit to them for life, to be honest with you, because finding out what people are like while you travel is a big part of the decision, or should be. So, like, I don't need to announce it to a god, because if there is a god, they'll have heard us have sex by then. I'm pretty sure. By the time I've decided I want to spend time with them for the rest of my life, any deity would probably know about it if they wanted to know. I don't think an announcement is needed. There's just so many not reasons. I don't really wear white. And I don't really like the idea of a wedding ceremony, to be honest with you. I think it's kind of awkward from my perspective. I like other people's weddings and going to them and congratulating other people's happiness. But like for me, my idea of like spending my time with someone, be like, hey, you want to live together? And they'd be like, yeah. And then if that works out, we just keep doing it. That's it. You don't like champagne? Dang, I'd marry a dog for that. I've got a little secret for you, Dan. You don't have to wait till your wedding to fuck dogs, you weirdo, to drink champagne either. Bitch. Oh, I missed a super chat. Someone spent 25 quid on that. I'm so sorry. British Shilling says, I appreciate your positivity, so please accept this small token of appreciation. Oh, what a legend. They've probably already left. Damn. But thank you. I saw it. And you're very sweet. Bitch. What? You can drink champagne anytime you want. It's called being an adult. Yeah, you don't have to do that just on your wedding. Mind you, the first time I had champagne at a wedding, I was like 5, 6, somewhere in that age bracket. But I wasn't allowed to be gay. The childhood alcohol was fine. But like there was this tower of Bucks Fizz, which I think it was Bucks Fizz, whatever they call it when you put orange juice with champagne, when you stretch out the champagne with orange juice, and there was like a big tower of it on a table. And me and this little girl were hiding underneath the table and just yoinking a glass and drinking the tasty orange juice, not knowing there was anything special about it. But boy, did we dance a lot. And we got up on the stage and started like we had inflatable saxophones, and we were standing next to the musicians, age 5, drunk as hell, just pretending to play along with the music. Gruban, thank you so much for the prime. I think I missed when you started talking about your sexuality. I was under the impression you were a pan. Oh, yeah, you missed a big chunk. Technically, you're correct. Oh, it's already 3 o'clock. Damn, I joined you guys late. Let's do that. Let's go give the bunnies what they deserve. Tits. There we go. Oh, John, thank you so much, sweetheart. Hope the recovery's gone well. Yeah, I'm doing really good. Actually, you wouldn't even know. I've taken the stickers off. I'm allowed to look at my own belly button again now. So like now there's just like little tiny area that it's still punctured, but I'm fine. Like I'm moving around. I'm getting back to my workouts and shit. But thank you for asking. It's time. It is time. Are we doing it? Let's do it in the castle. Can we get in the castle? Or is that not? The castle working? Yeah, let's do it. And now it's Pete's time. I don't know if the Pete cam is gonna work. Is it gonna work? Yes, it is. Come on in, Pete. Come on in, Pete. Time to put on a show. Thank you for buying the niblets, by the way. Now that we have Throne, I get really excited whenever I get an unexpected package because I know that you guys have gotten treats and nice things for the bunnies. I gave them flowers yesterday. I tried to rotate the gifts so they get a new gift every day because you guys have been so generous with it. So some days they get balls, sometimes they get sticks of various flavors. Sometimes they get one extra niblet as a treat, and that's their daily treat. They get all sorts of different things as gifts, and that's all because of you. And it really does break the boredom. He really nommed them. Yeah, he loves them so much. It's like Bunny Crack. They always look back to check if they've left any crumbs. No problem. He just came and booped my knee to say thank you, because bunnies do thank. You are so welcome, little ball. You're so welcome. Yes. Yes. Okay. That's my duties for the day. Done. I've done the bunnies. Ex-Pete's assistant. I feel like I am. I feel like that's my job day to day. I feel really guilty about not being satisfied with the life I built. I want to strive to be more creative. I don't want to just be good enough. I want to strive to be great. Any advice on that? I mean, I'm good at giving advice on unrelenting standards. So I would be careful to first ask yourself, where does this little voice come from? Because does it come from your head, or your dick, or your ass, or your bitch, or your tits, or your parents? Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your old teacher, like people who grew up with very critical parents who are narcissistic or cruel, right? They might have had really unrelenting standards for you. They might have been really mean to you. And then when they are out of the picture and you're living your own life, you just generate their voice in your head. Like you reflect all of their judgments of you. So like you might be thriving right now, but unable to settle for it because of this endless perfectionism. It might not even come from your parents. It might be a form of self-judgment. It might be because of your idea of masculinity, for example. A lot of guys never truly feel man enough, and they feel like people will suddenly not see them as a man at the blink of an eye if they do one thing wrong. And so they never really feel satisfied with their life because they feel like they could be manlier, and at no point do they feel man enough. There are loads of ways you can create this endless list that is an ideal that just, instead of getting shorter, just gets longer all the time. So every time you check something off the list, you can see another thing that you haven't done yet, and another, and another, and another, and it stacks until it's way too high for anyone to complete. And the fact of the matter is that every time you're enjoying something, you're doing the rarest thing in the universe, right? Life is rarest. But above that, enjoying your life is even rarer than that, because a lot of life is endless dull bullshit and hardship. So every time you enjoy a computer game, every time you watch a show or whatever that you're enjoying, you're doing something incredible and incredibly rare, and you're achieving something that is incredibly difficult to do. Most matter in the universe will never even know what joy is. So joy is your success. Appreciate what you have. Take a minute to not compare it with what it could be. Stop paying attention to what things aren't and start loving things for what they are. I'd say that's your first step. And then the second step is to fall in love with that voice that tells you things that could be better, because it's not criticizing you. It's making you aware of your potential. So it's not there to make you dissatisfied with who you are. It's to let you know that things can keep getting better from here over time. And that can be a goal that you inch towards. It's not something you should be punishing yourself for every single day that it's not happening, right? A lot of things you aim for, your journey towards it is going to be like this. It's not going to be like this. So all the things that you aren't yet are things that are your potential. They're not things they're not your failings. They're not the things that, oh, damn it, I'm not a superstar yet. Ugh. Right? It's, damn, I could be all this and a superstar, maybe. And you inch towards it, okay? It doesn't have to happen today or tomorrow for it to be possible one day. And so if you really crave something, speak it. That's the first thing. If you really are like, damn, I wish I was doing all this and I painted some paintings sometimes, say it to people, say it to yourself. And then what you do is you inch. So break it up into tiny little pieces. How would you incorporate art? You're tired all the time. Okay. How do you make your workload simpler? Maybe you buy a washing machine and a dishwasher. And you're like, yeah, that's shortened my load down a little bit. Now I've got some free time. I only play games with it for now. But if I had an easel and some painting gear, maybe I'd be able to inch a little closer. So you save up for those. And then you have them and you're like, I still haven't got round to it. It's just sat there undone. And it's like, okay, I'm going to make a 2-hour slot of free time and I'm going to not let myself do anything other than either read tutorials on how to paint or just start painting. Like there, and so like it may take you 7 months to get there, but every time you're worried about not being there yet, you can go look at all this progress I made. Look at this fat list of things that are all inches towards this thing. So if you prove to yourself that there is progress, you never have to lose hope or hate yourself for the things that you're inching towards. You can fall in love with your progress and go one day soon. And like inching towards stuff builds trust as well. Because you can trust yourself that you're not going to buy a bunch of collage shit and then have that collage shit sit around for 9 years, never becoming an actual collage. Because you've inched towards it. You've proven that you're closer and closer to it every week. True. Yeah. So that's what I would say. Like those are my little angles on your situation. Thank you so much for the sage wisdom. No problem, Bodkin. Wish you all the luck. That's low key what I did with miniature painting. That's cool. I used to do miniature painting. But then men happened. All the Tyranids. Yeah. What do you do for workouts? I have a personal trainer. I used to go in person, but now I've slowly been buying equipment at home so I can do it whenever I feel like it, which is much easier because it means that I don't have to go and not sleep all night just to be there during the day because I'm nocturnal. So what I do now is we communicate online. They give me recipes, food plans, this sort of stuff. They write up a workout plan for me. I do the workout plan. It's timed on an app. So as soon as I accept the workout, I have to go all the way through it, no breaks, right? In order, because if I have a break or stop, then it doesn't count and it wipes it. So it means that I commit to the workouts, I do them, and I report like my weights and stuff, and then it gives me feedback of what's increased and stuff like this. And then they give me advice on how to, do better next time and all this sort of stuff. So it works out nicely. It's an AI? No, it's not an AI. It's like literally just an app that puts me in contact with my personal trainer. Like my personal trainer that I had that I used to go to in person for years. I love that, Juice. Yeah, go ahead and help Nova with the workout stuff. Juice is actually really athletic. I can't wait for Hench underscore Dia to show up throwing people in bins. That's an odd. I, you know what? I'm just gonna take that and move on. Sure. I love you. I'm sorry I've missed so much of your content. Everyone's mentioning recovery. Yeah, because I went through a surgery for endo, but it didn't turn out to be endo, but they still snipped stuff out of me, and it should help with any luck. So can we see the scar then? No, I don't really like showing off my belly anyway, and they went in through my belly, so I will not be showing the scar. Plus, it was laparoscopic, so it's just 2 dots. It's nothing interesting. I've been single 2 years. I don't know how to try and let people know. I want a baby put in me, and I'm getting to be that age. And my approach has not been as appropriate as I hoped or been received well. Okay, I'm not gonna ask about your technique that has come across as very rude about having a baby put in you. But my top 3 bits of advice would be uh if you want to have a baby, be a good architect. Okay? People who make the baby, people who go through pregnancy are architects, okay? And we're damn good at it. We're better than men at being an architect when we select well. This is why peacocks look so good, right? It's because the females are designing them. The females are choosing the prettiest bird over and over again until they look crazy cool as fuck, okay? And being a good architect means getting a good foundation. So you need to find someone that you can spend your life with, someone who can be trusted with responsibility, someone who's not going to leave you to clean all the diapers, someone who's not going to be pretending to fall asleep and pretending to be unwakeable when it's time to wake up in the middle of the night to feed that baby. Someone who doesn't want a baby in the way that a kid wants a pet, you know? Somebody who actually can handle the responsibility and looks forward to being a real parent, okay? You don't just find that by walking up to people and going, "Hey, could you put a baby inside me?" You don't get that. And anyone who'd be like, "Okay," is probably going to ruin your life because people are stupid enough to just take that at face value and just go, "Yeah, let's do it, random lady," are not gonna be responsible parents. So I would focus on finding someone that you love, find someone that can handle pressure, find someone you can go on holiday with without flying into a massive argument, find someone who's good under pressure because relationships are hard. Relationship satisfaction plummets after you have a kid. You need somebody who's going to have the patience to go through at least 3 years of relationship hell, where it's difficult to have sex, it's difficult to have time for each other, it's difficult to sleep, and who's still going to love you at the end of that and really still want to be there and look forward to seeing you and coming home to you every day. That is harder to find than someone who will get you pregnant. And I think that's the foundation you need to build your house on. You're an architect. You want to build a healthy, happy kid, you have to build a healthy, happy relationship first. And if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, freeze your eggs along the way so that you have all the time in the world and so that you don't have to sit and think about, like, when am I going to go through the menopause? Because, like, people have pregnancies in their 40s, people have pregnancies in their 50s. Usually, the younger sibling in a big family was a geriatric pregnancy. They're actually incredibly common, and it's not as much of a problem as people make it out to be. You probably have more time than you think. But if you have anxiety about running out of time and that's making you desperate, give yourself more time so that you can make the right decision. Because more important than getting pregnant itself is finding someone who isn't going to ruin your pregnancy. Finding someone who isn't going to ruin your kid's childhood. Finding someone who isn't going to walk out and abandon that kid and disrupt their childhood. Find that person. That's the base. Not necessarily. 40s and 50s pregnancies aren't as healthy, even with more developed healthcare. That's actually a myth, and it applies more to men than it does women. Women's eggs are pretty perfect. They don't degrade over time the same way that sperm do. So if you're in your 40s and 50s and you're a male, yeah, it's going to impact your child's health. But if you're in your 40s and 50s and you're female, it's not. And that is a really important thing to remember, especially if having a family is really important to you, because at the end of the day, if you don't find a suitable partner who you think can be trusted upon to have a kid with, you can go and buy a sperm donor from somebody who isn't in their 40s and 50s, and that will help protect you against a lot of that degradation. It is men who run out of time sooner than women. Men's fertility plummets quite quickly, and also the longevity of their sperm. Your sperm degrades over time. So once you're past your 30s, you're past your reproductive prime as a man. But once you're in your 30s, that is your reproductive prime as a woman. Like 30s and 40s is a really, really good time to have a kid for a woman. So I would go and relook at the science because we made a lot of discoveries. A lot of people who think that women don't have time are acting on outdated information. It's time to look again. Yeah, the song's unbearably long outro. Don't worry, I'm skipping it. Isn't 20s better for you having a baby? So usually women don't finish widening their hips until their mid 20s. So you're if you're having your child in your 20s, it's fine, but you are like having your hips fully widened is really important for the baby and yourself. So women, like if you're in your mid to late 20s, you're getting into like the time when your hips have widened enough. But that's the implication. Like your hips are also widened when you're 35 and 45. And a lot of women have their last kid in their 40s. So, and their last kid is fine. People forget that in a lot of families, like most large families I know with 4 kids, the fourth kid was born in her 30s or 40s. So it's really normal to have kids at that time and for the kid to be fine. But but men can have kids later even with lower quality sperm, right? Yeah, but what are the health concerns that you're risking something, but I forgot what it is. Let me go look it up real quick. Sperm degrades effects over age on fetus. Lower chances of pregnancy, higher risk of miscarriage, greater chance of genetic or neurodevelopmental conditions in the child from DNA damage the longer you wait as a man. So you could kill your baby with miscarriage, give them genetic disorders, and yeah, neurodevelopmental risks. I think those are really, really hugely consequential. Miscarriage isn't killing, no, but like if you are waiting a long time knowing that your sperm could cause a miscarriage, then that's a huge risk. Like you're risking the survivability of your fetus by waiting as a man compared to a woman. This is the thing, like men are rushing women because men are in a rush, not because women have to rush as much as men. Should men freeze their sperm as well? I mean, if I was a man, I don't know. It's up to you. But if I was a man and I was in like my late 20s to early 30s and I was like, I want to start a family, but I haven't found the right person yet. I don't want to rush it because, like, if you get with someone for 3 years, you don't necessarily know that they're right for you. That's a really awkward position to be in if you're like, I feel like I'm in a rush to have a family. So if you've got a timeline you want to be on and you're like, fuck, I don't want my sperm to degrade in that time, then maybe freezing your sperm is like an option for you. I haven't really thought about it from the man angle because I'm not a man hoping to have kids. To be honest with you, I'm not really thinking about it from the woman angle because I'm not a woman who wants to have kids. But I do know that the recent science has kind of shat all over the idea that women should rush and men shouldn't. Whereas actually the inverse is true. Men run out of their reproductive prime sooner than women do. They're the ones who suffer the most consequences for waiting. And it's weird that we have it inversed because I don't care either way. But if you're going to start a family and you're like a man and you think you can wait to 40, but you should get with a 20-year-old, you're probably going to fuck up your family because a 20-year-old isn't very mature. So they're not going to be in the best possible position to raise a kid compared to someone who's like your age, for example. And you've waited all this time thinking your sperm's going to be fine, and you have no idea that you're actually putting your child at risk. So, like, the information is useful. It's now very, very useful to know that women's eggs, we are fine. Like, they are very well preserved. It doesn't, like, they don't degrade over time. Really cool knowledge. Hyper Superstar, thank you so much. I appreciate the gifty. I really appreciate that feedback so much. Yeah, don't let anyone rush you. Take your time, figure it out, make your plan. Make your plan based on a good foundation. Trust me. Having a kid with the wrong person is worse than regretting having no kid at all. So make sure you pick good. You're the woman I want to be when I grow up. We never grow up, but that's cool. Thank you so much. That's incredibly sweet feedback. I appreciate it. But yeah, we never grow up. We never finalize who we are. We never just get to an age and go, I have everything figured out now. That's not age. You never figure everything out. And that's okay because it means you're always getting better every single day. And it also means that you don't have to let your like racist grandma off the hook because, their brain is still developing too, believe it or not. So they could have changed at any point they wanted. Nobody's stuck in their ways, they're just an asshole. Yeah, I kind of feel like old people are the most well practiced in change because the world changed the most in their lifetime. So, like, they've had to change and adapt, and each stage of their life is a change, like the mother, the maiden, and the crone. You're gonna have different roles throughout your life, okay? There's childhood is so different to the age where you're working compared to the time when you're retiring. And then there's all the political change that happened and like all of the different kind of social dynamics you go through as you age. They've gone through fuck tons of change. They're just making excuses. So when someone just says something awful and they're like, there's no point trying to fix me, I'm just stuck in my ways. I go, no, fuck you. You're excellent at change. Don't give me that bullshit. Don't tell me I have more faith in you than you do. I know that your brain is better than you do. Like, you've changed your whole fucking life. Of course you can learn at this age. Don't you dare. Don't you dare tell me that you're just too stupid to be a good person. I don't believe you. Yeah, being stubborn isn't a flex or an excuse. Exactly. My grandpa once said he doesn't regret anything ever. Not much of a surprise that he's a raging asshole. Interesting. Well, I will say, that regret is incredibly developmental. I feel like you're not a true adult until you've done something you regretted, because you've grown. That means you've grown. Do you have a favorite philosophy? Not really. I don't have a favorite philosophy. I think that my whole, like, moral network and, way of making decisions is, does this action cause harm? Yes or no? Okay. Um, just do the one that doesn't cause harm. And then you might get a second situation where it's like, what if every choice causes harm? Like, cool, just cause the least harm then. Bam, you're done. That's morality. You're good. You're not gonna regret your decisions. You're gonna be cool with them now. You're gonna like who you are. Favorite history period? That's so hard because most of our history's been erased. Like, like, millions of years of human development where we had art and we had, like, stories and folklore and medicine and all sorts, probably song, that's gone. So, I have no idea how to judge, like, at least 1.5 million years of our development. But I do like, oh, okay, I'm incredibly curious about, like, pre-major religion. So I wanna say 5 to 2,500 years ago in Europe and Africa. I think I'm very curious about those 2 continents during that time. Ah, so like polytheistic and naturalistic religions? Yeah, but not just the religious side of it, like the social dynamics and all the rest of it, because you can already tell from what we've dug up that it's very, 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 very different to now. And I'd just like to know what a world that is completely different to now would be like. It seems we've derailed advice day. Yeah, like, I feel like I'm not a lot. I guess life is going well for everyone right now. Everything cool, everything going perfectly. I'd assume so, because no one's asking any advice. Everyone's just got their shit figured out this week, which is great. I'm happy for you. Well, life is okay. I'll be honest. I just had ice cream. I don't shop. I don't shop. I have these huge gaps between shopping, and I genuinely don't know when I will get ice cream again. I had ice cream during the eclipse and I fucking loved it, and I'm like, "Damn, I forgot how good ice cream was." The problem with having a shit memory is that it just fucks up your life, but at the same time, it gets you to remember how amazing things are. You get to rediscover things and how good they are all of a sudden, and I definitely forgot how good ice cream was. Definitely, completely forgot. I was like, "Damn." I'm going part-time for the first time ever. I don't know what to do with my new day off. I'm also feeling a bit guilty about not working so much. Talk some sense into me. Abandon your internalized capitalism. Okay? You do not have to be generating worth for a manager every second of every fucking day. That is not the worth of your existence. You have value when you are not producing. Stop thinking that you only have value when you're working for someone who doesn't give a fuck about you. When someone is paying you for your time, you don't have to produce anything to be worthwhile. Abandon internalized capitalism. You do not need it to manage your sense of self, okay? Every time you do something awesome for yourself, it is a miracle in the sense that it is infinitesimally unlikely that you were ever born. The right people had to meet at the right time, and they also had to be born. The people that made them had to meet at the right time. The genetic combinations that could have happened instead of you are infinite. You are here but for the ghost of trillions upon trillions of people who could have been born in your stead to your parents. Different sperm, different egg, different time. Just a month out, you would have been a completely different human being. And you're sat here moping because you didn't generate enough money from what you were doing with your time. That is not how you're supposed to see your existence at all. For most of the existence of Earth, there was no money. And you didn't have to produce jack shit to exist. Every time you observe a fucking squirrel, you are observing enlightenment. Because a squirrel doesn't stop and ask themselves if they have produced enough to be worthy of this day off from work. Okay? Their life is their work. Passively, by just existing at all, they are etching a permanent mark into the fabric of time. The whole of the world would be different if that squirrel did not exist. They build forests. There are trees that wouldn't have existed, birds that would not have been born in those trees without that squirrel. That squirrel changes the shape of the land, the shape of the rivers. It etches and creates the universe we live in just by breathing and existing. And so the fuck do you. And so you are allowed to be a bit of universe just enjoying and observing itself. You're allowed to be a bit of ancient stardust enjoying a computer game or a flower or a sunrise or an ice cream or laughing at someone's misfortune if you like, whatever the fuck it is. Every time you just enjoy and observe, you are doing enough to deserve to be here because deserving doesn't really exist. No one decided that you were worth it, you just happened. Everything you do is just what you just decide to do. At no point did you have to earn your right to be here, let alone your right to just enjoy anything. So just enjoy it. The day off isn't a situation where you are just incapable of generating something worthwhile. It is an opportunity to just indulge in existence for a bit. Nobody is owed anything. You don't owe me some productivity. You don't owe anybody any productivity. You could lie in your bed and just go, ah, and know how good and soft a bed is for the entire day. And that would have been an amazing and beautiful thing that the universe created. You know? When you think of having ever existed, when you look back on your life, if you could die and just look back on existing, and you are sat in nothingness, the vast expanse of nothingness, and you will never feel or taste or smile or cry or yawn again, you would think back and be like, fuck, I did not stop and appreciate bed. I did not stop and appreciate having feet, wiggling my toes in sand, feeling the warmth of a shower run down my back. When the universe came together to make every atom of that moment, and you were the one who got to experience it, most of life never happens, most of life never exists, and you were the one who got to take a shower. So stop guilting yourself. Stop feeling like you owe people something before you can enjoy the world. And sometimes we get it because our parents did very responsible things that marked us forever and sapped our enjoyment of everything. Sometimes people get this attitude, not just from capitalism, but from their parents, because their parents say, you can have your ice cream, you can play computer games after you've done your homework. When you go, Mom, can I play outside? And like, have you done your homework? It imprints on you this idea that all good moments have to be earned, that you must produce before you do the thing that you really want to do. And the sad part about that is schools weren't generally made to make us smarter. Schools were oriented towards making us better workers. So they get you up at 9 to 5 to prep you and make you have the stamina to work 9 to 5. Not because that's genuinely how long a good productive learning day is, for example. It teaches you and primes you to be a worker. So your parents said you have to be a good worker before you're allowed to enjoy life. And you now sat here going, I have this day off and I'm drumming my fingers and I feel guilty doing anything because I haven't done anything productive first. So sometimes it's capitalism and sometimes it's well-meaning parents. It doesn't matter where you get this little stamp inside your soul that dampens the joy of anything that you participate in. But you can unravel it in the first act. The first part of it is just to acknowledge that it's there. To hear the little voice and go, ah, you little shit. You thought you were going to sap my enjoyment out of this, didn't you? Not many people were born with a day free to do whatever the fuck they want. Not many people got that gift, but I did. So you're not going to do anything stupid with that. There are loads of ways you can shut up that stupid, annoying little voice that's dissing you and bullying you. It is you, but you can think of it as something separate if you like. I listened to this woman who was like, I gave my critical voice, my critical inner voice, a male voice, and now I don't listen to it anymore. Now I just think of it as a mean, awkward man I can ignore. Because if a man on the street said that to me, I would ignore him. Whatever works for you. Like, you could give it your sibling's voice. If you just drown out everything your sibling says, and you're like, yeah. Maybe you should give your inner critical voice your sibling's voice. Someone in chat's like, wow, that's such a great idea. There you fucking go. Whatever works for you. Whatever you need to do to get that stupid little micromanager out of your life, kick it out. Be like, no, I don't have to work before I enjoy my Sunday. Piss off! I'm gonna go and have ice cream and sit indoors all day, even though it's sunny outside, and play computer games. Fuck you. I had hash browns for dinner. It was so good. I haven't had a hash brown in too long. Thank you for reminding me they exist. Hey, Eric, guess I'll take a break then. I got diagnosed with inattentive ADHD a few days ago. It took memory issues to get myself checked. I'll admit though, I told my family straight away, but it feels like they have pulled back from me slightly, but my fiance feels closer. That's okay. I feel like when it comes to relationships and friendships with other people, fuck off, you slut. I think it's really important to really slut, to to not force it with people. So what's meant for you will find you and will be easy. And what constantly makes you work really, really hard just to sustain it probably isn't for you. Okay? So if your friends and family are pulling back now that you've been diagnosed with ADHD, let them. It is not your responsibility to make them more accepting. It is not your responsibility to make them like you. That's not something you do. There are plenty of people who will be friends with you even with the ADHD diagnosis. Sometimes even just because of the ADHD diagnosis. Yeah, your network should be full of people who love and respect you. I'm dating a woman 13 years my senior. She's 43 and has severe abandonment issues. While the relationship has been great so far, a month or so, I fear she might ask me to move in already. Do I need to think about this thoroughly? Yes, you absolutely do. You need to think about when the best timeline for you is and lay that out. It doesn't matter when she feels like moving in with you. It matters when you are willing to open your home. You're the one with the home, right? Like, talk about the timeline that works for you ahead of when she asks to move in. Talk about, like, in an ideal relationship for me, like, I don't move in with someone that I've known for less than 2 years. Absolutely not. Or however long it is. Because people can lie about who they are, and also people drop the act. You don't have to put this in, but, like, generally speaking, people will be on their best behavior for at least a year. So you should know people really well before you move in with them because they might look like they have a tidy house because they're cleaning it before you arrive. You should know what mess you're taking on. You should know what habits you're taking on. You should spend the night with them a few times and find out whether they play blaringly loud music first thing in the morning. You should find out how often they wash the sheets before you move in with someone. These sorts of things. Exactly. And so a month is really stupidly early. A month is crazy early. You gotta watch out for hobosexuals. Okay? You can't just let someone move in a month in because you might be. There are people called hobosexuals who don't have a home and don't want to pay rent and don't want to have a job. So they just get in a new relationship and move in with them really quick so they don't have to do any of those things. They're mooches. Okay? So if you have somebody who is like a month in, desperately wanting to move in together, eesh, big red flag. Don't do that. Also, getting rid of people once they've moved in is really hard. All it takes is for someone to have their mail delivered to your house, and then all of a sudden they have rights. And you can't just be like, I don't love you anymore, get the fuck out. Because some people will fight that legally and just squat in your house. There's whole Netflix documentaries about people who have started squatting in someone's house. Like, it's terrifying. You gotta protect yourself. You gotta be responsible. And if someone has abandonment issues and they're gonna get all wishy-washy and they're gonna get like, fuck you, me, and cause trouble, or maybe you'll scare them away, then scare them away. You shouldn't have to compromise your safety to be with someone. If your safety and you doing things that make sense for you is a relationship killer, find out now. If your boundary is a relationship killer, find out now. It's not your job to work on them. If they cannot handle boundaries, they should be alone. Munchie says, I recently left a Discord. There was a mod there. Lots of people supported me in this decision where I was a mod there. Lots of people supported my decision, but I can't help but think if I made the wrong choice, just due to the personal embarrassment of putting myself out there. Do you think online dating is worse for people or that it is a way to go to meet a new person? Some people it really works for, and other people it really doesn't. Like, for some people, online dating works exponentially well. You know the person's intentions. You don't have to guess whether they're looking for a relationship. You get to hit on them at your own pace. There's a level of anonymity when you're first getting to know someone. So if it doesn't go well, there's less likely to be stalking because you don't have to give them like your phone number and bullshit, right? Like, for some people, it really works and they find like the love of their life. And for other people, it really fucking doesn't work. Apparently, studies say that most long term relationships that are being built right now and actually succeed, most of them are happening from long term friendships. That the most common route that people take, even though there are lots of routes, like you might meet them at a swingers party or in an orgy or whatever, that might be some unconventional routes to find the love of your life. But like most people are having social circles, meeting people in person, and slowly growing closer over time. And that tends to yield really good results. And so that's like the common one. A lot of dating websites have pitfalls, which make them challenging and less accessible for the majority because they have their downsides, right? And so if you want to take that route, go for it. Just be aware of the downsides and be cool with them ahead of time so it doesn't do you emotional damage. Okay? Yeah. Like I had a friend and he was telling me about using dating websites and he was like, I scoured infinitely for ages until I found the profile that was perfect for me, and I got really interested, and then I read all about them, and I worked up the courage to swipe on them, and then I waited, and they were the only person I swiped on, and they never swiped back on me. And now I'm desperately hurt, and it's really hurt my feelings because they didn't know anything about me, and they just by the look of me did not want me, and now I don't have the courage to swipe again. And I'm like, yeah, dating websites are not for you. That's not gonna work out. You are internalizing the fact that these people didn't swipe on you. Yeah, that you're just gonna do yourself a bunch of emotional damage and never get picked. So, like, if it works for you and you're enjoying it, do it. Just know that there are people on there who are using it for their emotional needs because they want to feel wanted and they want to have a conversation with someone who desires them, but they don't actually want a relationship. So there are going to be people who waste your time. There are also going to be people who lie about themselves, and you're going to go get really excited to meet them and get all dolled up and go to a restaurant or whatever and pay money and spend time with them and talk to them for hours. And they're going to turn out to be a lump of shit. They're going to be awful. But there's going to be downsides. And you have to sit there and go, yeah, it's going to be worth it to find someone worthwhile because there are worthwhile people on this site. Then do it. If you can handle it, do it. Is 41-year-old man to is a 41 too old for a man to get married and have kids? Fuck off. I reckon I've met people who've gotten married in their 50s, so I don't think it's too late to get married and start a relationship. I genuinely don't. I also feel like you can adopt even if like the kids thing doesn't work out. Like there are options if you feel like you physically run out of time. So, well, operate on your own timeline and do what you want and do what you feel is right, but do it out of consideration as well. If you want kids, you really have to consider their needs. So, like, can you have to ask yourself, am I going to be able to chase after a kid in my 50s? Like, when my kid am I gonna be able to play football with my kid in my 60s? Am I gonna be able to do like, am I in my 40s? Am I feeling well enough and sprightly enough to wake up in the middle of the night and feed this kid? Change their nappies, chase a toddler around? Because if you can and you've got the energy for it, do it. But if not, don't. Yeah, there is no right age to get married. Like, people get married in their fucking 90s. Marriage is like I don't think there is a time limit on that, to be quite honest with you. You just need to ask yourself important questions about what you're willing to do as you get older, because I feel like some people are just too tired to have kids at some point. You know what I mean? How can you tell if a friend is being flirty or actually attracted to you? Like, I'm attracted to her, but I feel like she's just being friendly. I think you've got it. Well done. She's just being friendly then. Like, if you sit there and you know how you feel about them, but you don't know how they feel about you, 9 times out of 10, that's because 'cause they're not interested in you. Because, like, the fact of the matter is, especially in a friend group, your friends are gonna spot it before you 2 do. They're gonna notice that you 2 are treating each other differently before you 2 notice that you're treating each other differently. But also, like, you can just observe how she treats other people, and if she treats other people the way that she treats you, there's a good chance she's just being friendly. The weird part is she bit me one day. Is that just being friendly? No. That is either a gross breach of boundaries. That is weird. Although I had a family member boast to me that they were trying to bite the waitress at a at a restaurant the other day, and they thought it was very funny. They were there with their partner. So, I don't know, maybe maybe biting maybe I'm old-fashioned and biting is changing its context these days. Maybe more people are just casually biting each other than I was aware of. I don't know. But in my sense, like, if anybody tries to bite me, they're gonna get a mouthful of fist immediately. Like, you're gonna have to willing to gamble a few teeth, at least, if you wanna bite me out of the blue. Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But like I would ask myself, like, would she bite other people? Is this something fun and silly she'd do with anyone? Or am I the only person she would ever bite? Because that might be flirtatious. It might be a flirtatious, it's kind of crazy way to go about flirting, I'm not gonna lie. But like if it is, how is that a fun and silly thing to do anyways? I mean, between people in a relationship it is. That's the thing. Like that would have me questioning myself too. If someone I was just normally friends with bit me, I'd be like, that's a bit couplesy. Either she was attacking you and this is like going, you're like, this woman is like self-defensing, and you're like, does she like me? Was that a little love bite? But that's definitely swung my answer there. I was like, I'm pretty sure if you're not getting any feedback back that she likes you, then leave it alone, right? But if you're like, yeah, she's biting me, I'm like, what the fuck? How? That is like a bat signal. Like, whatever that is, that's a very loud signal of it. Either she's trying to deter you, or she likes you, surely. It's sexy being bitten by a partner, but not by a stranger. Yeah, I'd kind of agree. Like, I'd get some booster shots of various kinds if a stranger bit me. Scardill, thank you so much. I appreciate the prime. Bats carry rabies. Yeah, but that's kind of it's propagandary. Okay, like in the UK, the last case of someone getting bitten, like getting rabies from a bat, was like decades ago. I think it was like 30 years ago. And then on top of that, it was only one specific species, and none of the other species of bat in the UK have ever given anyone rabies. Like, ever. And so, like, I'm not too worried about rabies if I come near a bat these days in the UK. I'll be honest with you. Not at all. I would be more concerned if I was around a human getting a disease. Humans are a septic bowl of disease. Shaking someone's hand is more dangerous than holding a bat. Don't hold bats anyway, they're protected species. You're gonna owe the government like 5 grand. But like, in terms of disease control, personally, I'd rather lick a random bat than shake a man's hand. New sport idea, bat licking? No, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. It got me thinking of Ozzy Osbourne, and everyone thought it was so cool that he bit that bat's head off, but I'm devastated because, like, a bat carer who tamed a bat to the point where the bat was comfortable being held, developed a long standing relationship with this little bat. That bat trusted him. And he wanted Ozzy to hold it to look cool for a sec. And Ozzy thought it was a prop and just bit the remains of a bat, or having to pick them up off the stage, your friend who you loved and took care of, who trusted you, and you put them in a situation where they got chewed to death. And he brings that up as if it's like a cool thing, a funny thing. Yeah, that's really disturbing. Yeah, it's weird how much shit we let fly. also was like, "He won't do it again." Yes. I suppose that's technically true. Still. Still. I don't think that was the direction I was trying to take the comment, though. I'd bite it off too? What the fuck is wrong with you? Some of you belong on a watch list. But yeah, I really love animals, and I feel like liking animals is a green flag about people. I feel like there's a lot of developmental progress you make when you have pets as a kid, for example, because it teaches you to be caring and loving for something that can't give you anything back, right? You can't climb the social ladder. It won't make you safer or anything. Like a lot of the feedback you get and incentives you get for being a good person mean that a bad person can do good things socially, but you have to be a genuinely good person to care for animals because they can't really do anything in return. So I do think that being good and kind to animals is a bit of a green flag. Hey, oh my god, thank you so much for the 25 gifties. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Woo! Are there any animals or insects that you're afraid of? I'm uncomfortable around octopus. Like I admire them very much, but I feel very uncomfortable around them. So like they're cool as long as they're at a distance. I have tried to get over it. Like I met an octopus and I tried to shake hands with the octopus and it could sense that I was scared. So it just gently patted my finger. I went and put my hand down like this and it went, and that's all it did. Even though usually it'll like wrestle people and tug on their arm and like squirt water in their face and be really playful. That octopus, she was just like, "It's okay, little fella, you don't have to worry about me." And what I find so incredible about that is, like, she's a genius for spotting that about me because, like, she can't see all of me, all she can see is my hand coming down into her vicinity. And, like, she was so gentle about it and so lovely, knowing nothing about me. Like, she just clocked it. She clocked my fear immediately. And there are people, human beings, who just can't pick up on how someone's feeling or their facial expressions or anything. And this other species, this young creature, a lot of them only live for a year. And like she has so much figured out that she could tell what fear in my species looks like. And she treated me with compassion. And I think that was like really smart of her. And for all of that experience, it wasn't like, oh, I'm fine with them now. Whenever they move, I'm like, oh, still. But like, I like them as people. I just don't like looking at them. They stress me out. I don't know what this song is. I think it's just randomly recommended. It's just shuffled onto it. Bitch! Octopus only live for a year. Yeah, a lot of species are very, very short-lived, but they're incredibly smart. If you think about how useless a one-year-old human is, how smart they get in that time is insane. God, I need coffee. I don't think God is the best person to ask for that, though. I mean, if they're around, they're probably busy. You might go to like a coffee machine or like a cafe. If I was a god, if I was a deity that could hear you, I'd be like, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? Go to Starbucks or whatever, Glenn. Busy with what? I don't know. A lot of people like to think that if there's a god of any sort, that they're somehow micromanaging everything. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't wish that on myself. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy to micromanage everything. Like everything, how everything unfolds. Like you would have to manage everything on a molecular level to get it to unfold exactly the way you want it to. Managing all of the atoms and molecules in the entire universe would be a hellscape. It would take you trillions of years to manage 1 second of unfolding space and unfolding happenings. Like, that's insane. Like, that would be horrible. Might get a discount though. True, if someone could just make the beans for free. I'm thinking about joining an animal volunteer sanctuary. Do you have any advice? Yeah. So the thing with sanctuaries and charities and anything doing things for good is that they're tough spaces, usually. You'd think they'll be full of really lovely people, but no, in my experience, they're full of very high strung people. And if you're going to work for a sanctuary specifically, there's a good chance that when they don't know anything about you, you're going to be moving a hell of a lot of shit. Like, that is the main problem with keeping a bunch of animals. They produce a lot of doo-doo. And so you're probably going to be a shit shoveler for the love of the game, just to be in the vicinity of these animals for no pay. And if you're very, very lucky and you have some good qualities that they spot somehow, you might be promoted to some other role within the sanctuary, of course. But it's not very likely. In sanctuaries, a lot of the time, they don't really need a lot of high turnover of the bigger jobs, so they just get a high turnover of the shittier jobs, quite literally. So there is a good chance you are going to be a free shit shoveler for years before anything happens, if anything happens at all. And some people love giving their time to do that, and it's important work. But that's what you're going to be doing. You're not going to be wandering around cuddling little animals all day. You're going to be doing hard, sweaty work. Come home stinking a lot of the time. And that's important to know, that you have to care because you care about these animals, not because you're going to get anything out of it. Yeah. And you may feel it's incredibly rewarding to go in there and do what needs to be done to continue this place going. And that is absolutely true. Absolutely. It's a really rewarding thing to do, but it's not going to be as admirable as you think it is. Just bear that in mind so you can go in and stick to it. I'm okay with tough spaces. I just want to help the animals. I've moved tons of shit before. Oh, absolutely. That's great. My next piece of advice, be the quiet guy for at least a few months. If you can, be the quiet guy. Take it all in. Because people who are very, very passionate about animals tend to be very strong personalities, and strong personalities are a lot like Marmite. They're hard to get on with. Either you love them or you hate them. So if you're quiet for the first while and you get grips of who works there, what they're like, and all the rest of it before you start showing who you are, you can know how to keep the peace best and dodge as much drama as possible. Yeah, one of the most awkward high turnover things about like volunteering and doing good is that it attracts a lot of mentally ill people, these spaces. It attracts a lot of people who are malicious, who are trying to appear holier than thou. A lot of like emotional terrorists, a lot of people who are just not very good people, who just want to look like good people. So they're there, and things like that. You're going to meet people that you should avoid. You're going to meet good people too, absolutely. You're not going to be able to tell the difference in the first few months. So be a quiet guy, because the sooner you learn all of that, the longer you'll last. And don't fuck anyone. Don't fuck anyone. Okay? Keep your dick out of that space. I promise you. Do not fuck anyone. Like, if I started an animal charity, one of the first rules I'd make is if you get in a relationship with anyone, if you sleep with anyone here casually, we will fire you immediately. No sleeping together. None. You do it for the animals, not for your dick. You hear me? All of you? Good. You speak out of experience? So I've never slept with anyone in those spaces, but what's happened is I've watched a lot of people come in, sleep with a few people, cheat on a few people, cause a bunch of politics, cause a lot of disagreements, and then all the good people leave, and the horrible shitty one stays. Like some guy will come in, hit on like 6 women at once, cheat on them all, they'll all cry, we'll lose 6 good workers, and that shitty guy who fucked them all wants to come in tomorrow. And it's like, really? We had to trade 6 worthy people for you? For you. And like, people get a load of drama spill on them when they didn't even do anything wrong. You could be just like a hapless sideline person who just gets so much shit because somebody slept with the wrong fucking person. It just causes so many disagreements. Don't put your dick in charities. Just don't. Don't do it. I think a work environment in general, to be fair, that is a good cool blood. I actually completely agree with you there. Like, don't put your dick in the place where you get money from. Don't get your honey where you make your money. That's a good way of putting it. I think that's a good slogan to have, you know? Seeing people flirt at work is so annoying, man. I don't really care about the PDA and all that stuff. I don't care if people fall in love. I think it's cute, just not at work and not in a volunteering setting and not in a charity setting. Don't do that. Don't do that. What if you're a male prostitute? Do you have to put in where you get your money? You have to put it in where you get your money from. Hey, don't you bean soup this, Danny. Don't you dare bean soup this. How am I supposed to get laid then? Then the only other way is Tinder. Yeah, maybe stick to Tinder. What if there's someone at work that you really, really like who's single and giving off signals that she's really into you? I mean, here's what I'm gonna lay out for you. This is a lesson that most of us either learn by fucking up our lives or watching somebody fuck up their lives, okay? Press 1 if you've watched this all fall apart at work, or you've been like in this story, or you've seen this story in person, okay, that I'm about to tell. Guy meets girl at work. They start flirting. They start fucking. They don't work out. It could be a week. It could be a year. Could be 9 years. It doesn't work out. This is your job. The job market's hard. It's hard to find another job. So you are stuck having to work with your ex every single day. It is horrible. It hurts, especially if you know your partner's moved on and they're dating somebody else and they have a picture of their new partner on their desk and you have to go and talk to them every day. Or maybe one of them cheated on you and you have to be nice to them and civil to them every single day and it's driving you nuts and you can't face it and the entire work environment is gossiping about you and you have to keep going back and hanging out with the person who broke your heart because that's the only way you can afford food and rent. Okay, fair point. Yeah, this is why you don't shit where you eat. This is why you avoid getting into relationships at work. If you need this work to survive, you are now forced in this room with this person over and over again, no matter how the relationship goes. And the problem with love is its flip side is hate. They are two sides of the same dick, of the same coin, right? So fuck off. So the fact of the matter is, if you love someone, there's a very, very good chance that the energy and the passion you feel about this person does not go away the minute the relationship ends. Quite often, it just gets converted into hate. Okay? Like, hate is just a form of obsession in the same way that love is. Okay? You still feel strongly about this person. And if you have to keep going to work with somebody that it doesn't work out with, then it's very, very psychologically damaging. And your well-being is being held hostage. So this is why we don't sleep with coworkers 99% of the time, unless you're willing to quit the work. If you break up with this person, if the job is not very important to you, maybe it's not so much of an issue. But this is why people don't sleep with the people at work. Hi, Anita, I thought you would give good advice for this problem I have. So I went on a first date, and this girl is perfectly my type, and we seem to hit it off. But at this phase, I always ruin things. I become a little too attached too quickly. I start to obsess about their responses, and this thing and that thing, and I overwhelm myself with how I feel. How do I stay chill when I do not feel completely chill? That is kind of cute. I would go to therapy. Do not tell the person that you're seeing that you're going to therapy about this. I mean, it's not some huge secret. I just would not go, I love you so much, I'm going to therapy about it. That might be a little bit red flaggy. But the reason why I suggest therapy is because you know you have a behavioral issue, but you don't know how to overcome it by yourself. And nothing that you have tried has fixed or reoriented your behavior. This is why people go to therapy. So if you sit down with a therapist to go, I'm so in love with people, I drive them away. I do weird, obsessive, red flag behaviors the minute I actually genuinely like someone. Can you help me to not drive away someone? Because I'm in a relationship right now and I want to do right by them and I want it to go well. But I'm scared I will fuck it up with my usual bullshit. And then she'll go, or he'll go, what's the usual bullshit? And he'll go, I do XYZ. And they will walk it through with you, get you to identify when you're feeling something a bit weird and stupid, and then redirect your behavior. That's the tool. You need to tell them you need the tool. You're like, I need a tool to redirect and notice my behavior before it becomes an actual thing, before I actually act on it. Where I can differentiate normal lovey-dovey behavior from being a weirdo. Help me. I need someone where I can lay out all of my urges and go and sort the normal lovey-dovey ones from the restraining order ones. And a therapist will be like, let's do this. Let's get all deep in your childhood. Let's rummage around in your feelings. When did you first feel this way? You know, and it's probably going to hurt. It's probably going to be painful work at first. And you might not feel progress, especially if it doesn't help you in time not to drive this next person away. But it will essentially help you. This is such a therapy coded problem. Go to therapy. How much for therapy? So, it depends on where you are and how you go about it. Sometimes you can get free therapy from your free healthcare if your country has free healthcare. Sometimes that's trash, though, and not worth doing and has a long waiting list. And if that's your case, then you can pay for therapy. There are charities that help you to afford therapy, even if you can't afford it. So it might be worth looking for a charity that can help hook you up with a therapist. But also, you could do online therapy for really reasonable prices. Usually therapy in my country costs between like 40 and like 80 quid an hour. That's the usual range. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you've already took the smartest step about this. Because, like, the truth of the matter is nothing that a random streamer is gonna say is just gonna make you go, "Oh, I'm only mildly obsessed with this person now, thank you." There's nothing I could do. It is not within my powers, unfortunately. Bitch! How to get over the past, feeling I didn't get things at a crucial time and not feeling normal. Everyone's timeline is different. You're not going to get allocated the right amount of childhood. You're not going to get allocated the right amount of existence. You're not going to get allocated just the right amount of approval from your father. You are not going to get allocated just the right amount of money to go through college. You are not going to get allocated a bunch of things that you feel you deserve. Other people are going to get them at a different pace from you. And that's absolutely fucking fine. Okay? There are people who didn't become CEOs or millionaires or world famous artists until they were in their 50s, 60s, 70s. Some of them never got to know how awesome they were. They died before it ever got revealed, like Van Gogh. He was so much more popular after he was dead. And so the fact of the matter is that things aren't like life experiences are not allocated. Nobody sits there and decides what you will receive, okay? What it is everything you experience is an ingredient. It wasn't something that was owed, it's just an ingredient. You get handed ingredients every single day, every boring day, every rough day, every midday, every extreme day, every awesome day. You get experiences and you get to build whatever you want out of those. You could build an awesome person, an awful person, a boring person, an excited person, a friendly person, a standoffish person, whatever person you want. You are a canvas, these are the paints, you paint whatever picture you want of yourself. Okay? And the thing is, it's weird how like diverse it is because I had a really shit childhood, but I like who I became. And I like the person that I built out of all of those shitty things I experienced. I'm cool with it. And I have friends and I go and have lovely experiences. I built a beautiful painting that I'm proud of from the paints I was handed, even if they were a bit scuffed and cheap and had questionable ingredients. And so it doesn't really matter when you get or what you get. You still get to decide what you built. There are people who go and live in the craziest circumstances and they build houses with bricks made of shit. And there are the kinds of people who complain about getting shit all over their hands. If they fell over and their hands landed in shit, they'd cry. But there are some people who look there and go, I'm going to build a fucking house. And they do. There are houses built of shit. And they're very, very good. They last. They are incredibly suited to their terrain. And they don't smell somehow. They're fine. And so you need to stop looking at everything as if it was a plus or a minus and just see everything as an opportunity. Or maybe not everything. I did see this guy say, replace every negative word in your life. Or was it? No. Replace the word problem with opportunity. You don't have problems, you have opportunities. Go. And the guy went, I have a drinking opportunity? So maybe it doesn't apply in every single situation. But I definitely think it applies in terms of looking back at the past. The past isn't really you. You are not your past. You are the things you decided about yourself. You're not your eye color, your body shape. You're not your hair color. You're not the things you didn't choose. You're not the conditions that you got. You're not any of those things. You're not your past. You're not your parents. Those are things you didn't choose. You are. Your identity begins with the things you chose about yourself. So who cares what past you got, Alec? You didn't get to choose your past. All that really matters is what you do with it. Rich. That's a beautiful way of describing life. Thank you. No problem. Thanks for answering. Yeah, thanks for asking. I forget how my childhood probably should have gone until I meet and hang out with, like, when I get close with friends or when I've had a partner in the past, I've watched them interact with their parents and I'm like, "Oh, that's how that's supposed to go? Holy shit." Like, I never truly felt a sense of loss over how things went with my family until I got my first boyfriend and went to his house, and his mom loved him, and she made him food, and they ate together, and she wanted to meet me because she cared who he dated. And, like, she invited us out places, and they had Christmas together, and they ate together, and they gave each other gifts, and, like, they celebrated when his sibling had a kid and things like this, and I was like, "Oh." I was just getting by in life, I was fine, and then I was like, "Oh, there was some things missing." I had no idea, and I was looking at it all like, "Fuck, there was so much missing," and it devastated me, and then at later stage in my life, I realized that the problem wasn't really what I missed because, like, I was a happy, healthy human being to a degree, regardless of what I missed, so the importance is in what I chose to be, not in what I experienced. Like, I couldn't control what people gave me. I couldn't control how people felt about me. All I could control is what I did with my life. I love you. I love you. Are you against euthanasia? No, I'm not against euthanasia at all. Why would I be? I think it's really important. Like, I've had to have many pets euthanized because I am their god, essentially. I control when they get to eat, how safe they get to be, how warm they get to be. I choose when there is light. They don't choose, they can't reach light switches. I choose even when there is light, right? Their entire existence hinges on me. I decide how every second of it goes. Why wouldn't I want that to be the best it could possibly be? And so, not only do I get to choose their life and how good their life is, I get to choose how good their death is. And so when their life is run out and the only thing left for them is death, the only thing I'm choosing is how much they suffer in death. They can either die slowly and horribly, or they can die quickly, surrounded by the people who love them in a comfortable place where they feel warm and safe. So I choose a good death for them in the same way that I choose a good life for them. And I think when it comes to humans, they should be able to choose when that is too. I think they are the best informed person to decide their best death and when that should be. And I think that's an important part of being free, and I think that's an important part of quality of life too. Yeah, I don't think that we should be giving dogs more compassion than we give our family. I think if they are dying horribly, they should have the option to have a good death too. I love you. Do you have any recommendations for how someone currently housebound due to chronic illness might go about making connections and friends with others online? I saw your podcast with Tommy in it and how you'd used gaming and hobbies to build community and connect with people in a way that worked for your condition. I wonder if you might have any other thoughts. Many thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think if I had a chronic illness, I think I would, and it was limiting me in ways that most people don't understand or relate to, I might go and make connections with other people with chronic illnesses. I might look somewhere like Reddit personally, because there will definitely be Reddits for people with my illness, and I can talk to them and DM them, as well as see what their opinions are on things. So I can ask people more questions, offer my support to them. And like connections tend to be something that happens organically over time. So usually you don't just pick someone and go, I would be like to be friends with that person. Like that might be very kindergarten, but it's not how adults tend to do it. Adults turn up in the same spaces and they notice that they look forward to seeing a person again over time. Like you never really notice yourself making a friend, you just realize you've become a friend a lot of the time. So you see each other semi often in a space, you're like, oh, it's you again. You make a few jokes, they acknowledge you, and that's it. And you don't think about it much. And then you see them again and you're like, "Ah, it's you again. How are you?" And you ask them about the previous interaction. Like, "You told me about your dog. How's your dog doing?" And that's like the next step. And then you never think about them again and you just carry on with your life. You don't like go, "You have spoken to me once. Here is my entire life story. Let me trauma dump for 5 hours." That's not usually how you make friends. But a lot of people who haven't had a lot of friends tend to think that's how it goes. I thought euthanasia was illegal in the UK. So it wasn't legalized in time for my mom. Strangely, just as she was starting to go very, very downhill, that we changed our law and policy on euthanasia. We started to build towards euthanasia being legal in the UK. But my mom wanted to go to another country to get it done. And I looked up all of the waiting times, and she asked me for this about a month out from her passing. And when Googling and taking a look at all of the places we could go, they had on average like a 4-month plus waiting list. So I was like, "Fuck." Um, yeah, so that was our situation, like, you can still travel for it. But yeah, you're right, it is illegal here. What are your thoughts on a society where it's common to have or own sex-capable like robots asking for a friend? I feel like it's going to be an evolutionary bottleneck, quite potentially, because the kind of person who wants a sex robot is someone who wants to have sex with something that cannot consent. They want to be able to force themselves on something that cannot say no, that can just be reprogrammed to agree with whatever you desire. That obviously is only appealing to people who are very rapey at their core. Because most people enjoy sex more than masturbation because the other person is enjoying it, because the other person wants to be with you. There is an element of companionship and reciprocity that helps you to get off on the situation. So people who are kind of fucked up don't really like consent, and that's why the robots appeal to them. Someone you can just force to fuck you exactly how you want and never say no, right? So, for people who aren't fucked up, this isn't really going to do it for them, even if it looks nice and has a few warm holes. And this means that we'll go through an evolutionary bottleneck where we'll kind of filter out the rapiest people. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure it'd be possible to get futuristic humanoid robots pregnant. I'm sure we could start putting artificial wombs in them too. But I don't think we will. Because the kind of people who want to force themselves on something that can't consent are developmentally challenged to the point where they would not be safe around a child. Like, are you gonna give the Cheeto encrusted dude who's never spoken to a real life woman in his life, who has a bunch of dolls at home, a child to raise? No, you're not. So even if we could give them the capacity to get pregnant, chances are we won't. We'll probably outlaw it. So it's a step in evolution to bottleneck out and kind of yeet the rapier ones among us from the gene pool, which I'm on board with. Like, the fact of the matter is that when we started developing sex robots, they were going to conventions with the sex robots, and they were being beaten the shit out of. A lot of the men who were incredibly interested in them were ripping them, tearing them, punching them, testing whether they would bruise immediately, to the point where quite often when these robots are presented, they can't be taken to a second convention because they get just abused to fuck. They get destroyed. And this to me says that, yeah, we should produce them because the kinds of men who want to do that kind of thing will be distracted at home and will never have kids. Wouldn't it just give them more practice though? Yeah, you can see it that way in the fact that there is no such thing as catharsis, and whatever you indulge your emotional state to be will be what your brain jumps to most automatically. So if you beat up a doll because you are a very aggressive person and you want to get it out so you don't do it towards people, you will just become a more aggressive person because you're indulging it, so the neural pathway strengthens and connects to more regions of the brain. So more parts of your behavior just lead to violence. It doesn't actually get it out of your system. So I agree that I don't think it will be cathartic and take the violence out of the people who want it. But I do think that the kinds of people who purchase sex dolls specifically tend to stay at home with their sex dolls because what it means is they're terrified of being challenged. They no longer develop the capacity to handle being challenged, being told no, having a normal conversation, having to succeed on the merit of their own personality. So they usually become pretty dysfunctional personality wise to the point where they're not going to be able to coax, they're not going to be able to Ted Bundy it, they're not going to be able to like charismatically coerce a woman into their car and do this to a woman because they're not going to be able to talk to a woman. They're either going to be pissed scared of her or they're not going to be able to have a normal conversational ability with her because she can say no and she's not going to just endlessly indulge him. So, never thought of it like that. Yeah, it is just going to be a way to catch all of the redundant, unwanted sperm of the future. So it doesn't end up in the gene pool. Perfect. You're right. Yeah, I think that's how it's gonna go. And to be honest with you, I think the kind of men that stay at home with those sex robots are gonna be unbearable to other men as well. I think it's gonna take them a step beyond just being an awful gooner. Are you an antinatalist? No, I'm not. I think that I understand where antinatalists are coming from. I just don't agree. I don't want children. I'm not mad at anyone else for having them. I'm a covert narcissist? Cool. I have doubts about that statement because I feel like you wouldn't have said that if you were truly covert about it, but here we are. My mom had cancer, and for the last time I saw her, I felt things were looking a bit brighter. And when I got home, I didn't say goodbye because she was asleep and I wanted to let her rest. Later, I found out that she had cried a lot because she hadn't been able to say goodbye. She passed away the very next day, and ever since, I felt that it all happened so quickly because she was grieving over not having been able to say goodbye, and I feel guilty about it. It is not your fault. You did not plan to abandon or anything. You just went home, and you shouldn't feel bad about that. I think that the truth of the matter is that any real parent, any truly loving, rational person would know that a goodbye in this instance doesn't really mean anything. That I'm sure she knew that you loved her regardless of whether or not you said goodbye that specific time. In the same way we do with every goodbye. Like, if I loved somebody and, like, I parted ways with them, like, maybe they were like, "Hey, I'll see you tomorrow," and I never saw them tomorrow, and we didn't have a goodbye, like, I wouldn't think, "Oh, did they know how I felt about them?" I would know. I'd know how we felt about each other, in the same way that I knew how we felt about each other if we didn't say goodbye and we saw each other again tomorrow. Like, if you had a partner and they leave the house without saying goodbye, you don't stand by the door going, "Do they know how I feel about them?" until they get back from the laundry or the fucking shops or whatever. No, you don't. You both part ways knowing how you feel about each other. Yeah. I'm sure she knew that you loved her as much in her passing as she did in her life. And honestly, it sounds like she was just craving seeing you again before it all happened, and she was taken too soon. I think that's an act of love, not an act of resentment that you didn't dare to be there. The feeling, if I was dying too soon to see my kid one more time, and I was like, I didn't get to say goodbye, I wouldn't be like, "Where are they? I need why aren't they coming to talk to me?" I'd be more like, I'm just craving their company. I just want them to know I love them before I go. And if she is a lovely person, if she was a wonderful mom, then I'm so sure that it was the inverse. She was probably feeling more guilty about not being able to say goodbye to you than the other way around, than you coming to see her. I'm so sorry, that must have been really stressful to find out. I think, like, I wasn't there in the room when my mom passed either. I was asleep, and I had a dream that I went and saw her, and that we both knew it was the last time we'd see each other, and she was lying there in the bed, and she said, "You came," and I went, "Of course I did, of course I did, it'll be okay," and she's like, "I was really s," and she was like, "I'm scared," and I'm like, "I know, but it'll be okay." And it was like a really touching moment, but it didn't happen, it was all in my imagination, it was just a dream. I woke up and I had a few missed calls, and I kinda knew. I was like, "Fuck." And I wasn't there. I wasn't physically there when she passed away. So I know exactly the situation you're in. I know that it's very, very easy to guilt yourself, but I'm so sure that she knew how you felt about her. That's why you always say I love you to your loved ones. Yeah, you should. So it's never in question. How'd you reconnect with someone you felt a bond with that dissipated accidentally due to life and so many other factors? You reach out once. You reach out on a platform they are really active in that isn't creepy. Okay? So it'd be a bit weird to, like, reach out to them on LinkedIn, but to DM them on a social platform that they're active on recently and just go, "Hey, I've been thinking about you recently. If you ever wanna hang out again, let me know. I just wanna know how you're doing." Like, and just give it, like, a brief overview of you how you're doing. I mean brief. They should not be scrolling. Just be like, "I got a new job and, I took up a new hobby, and, life has really changed for me, and I just popped into my head. How are you? Just wondering. Hope you're good." And then just leave it there and don't look at it unless they reply. And if they never reply, let it go completely. Do not be forceful. Do not try again. Because, like, some I've been thinking about you, random girl that I knew in primary school. 20 years ago. How are you doing? Like, sometimes it's scary. I had a guy, he was my first kiss. It was a terrible first kiss. We were like 10 or something. We were young. And I barely remember his name. He reached out to me after I got popular on Twitch. And he was like, I just wondered how you're doing. And he just happened to drop in this message. I live by the sea. And he was like, I've always wanted to live by the sea. And I've always wanted to have a sugar mama and be provided for and be a house husband. He slipped all of that in this message, by the way. And he said, breaking up with you was the biggest mistake of my life. We were 10. We were on a first name basis. You fished me. You sealed your lips all the way around my entire lips like this. Mwah! It was wet and disgusting. That was the entirety of the situation. Nothing more. I left school, never saw him again. I think that man was just hungry. Yeah. So, like, some reunions are not, they don't come across well. There are ways to come across terribly. Terribly. When you reach out to someone again. So the cute way, the non-threatening, the nice way, is to go, my life changed a lot since we last spoke. I was just thinking about you. How are you? Hope you're doing good. And then you leave it there. Oh, no, I remember breaking up with him. His biggest mistake was I broke up with him. I said, I don't want to be together anymore. You're being kind of weird. And you know what he did? He shouted, life's a bitch and so are you. And he skipped up the street to his friends and went, she just dumped me. Tragic. Yeah, he was being weird. Like, one of the things that made me feel weird about it was every 5 minutes he kept going, we're still together, right? We're still boyfriend and girlfriend, right? And he'd keep doing it whenever I was around other people. I think he just was using it as a way to brag, and I found that very strange. I was like, you're kind of weird. I don't like this anymore. Damn, probably your best relationship if you didn't remember. Yeah, and he's like, we were 10. We were 10. We were 10. It was like a day relationship. We're adults. Skip forward decades later, and he's like, my biggest regret is us breaking up. And he was the guy. I hurt him really badly because he got really weird. Like, you know, I tell you about, like, there were some guys that I had to defend myself pretty hard. He was one of the, oh my god. I wish I remembered less. He wasn't he wasn't the broken arm guy specifically, he was another one. A different injury. I won't get too specific though. But yeah. Stop trying to rule it. Like, you're all guessing. No guessing. I will not be ruling out anything more. Because that's me saying I'm not going to say, and you're not respecting it. You're still trying to find out, you little shits. But I'm just going to nip to the lip. You're like, oh, go on. Which one was it? No. Stop being weird. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Hella. It would be crazy trying to meet my 10-year-old crush now. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say it's a pretty weird thing to do. Like, it's a bit like, you should leave that alone. Absolutely. Obese bunny? I don't see no bunny anywhere. How dare you? He is just festively plump. I love you. 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 I love you, bitch. Pete really did a number on his wooden chimes. There's only 3 missing. There's only 3 missing. Could be worse. Sometimes he just runs through it for some reason. He doesn't really play them on purpose, but he runs through them and then looks back at them as they jingle. Do you discipline the bunnies? No. Rabbits are like cats. They don't understand discipline. It's not anyone trying to discipline their bunny should go to prison. You don't intentionally make them unhappy because it doesn't teach them anything. It's not like they're not smart. They understand things, but the fact of the matter is that they live in a social network where punishments don't happen. Like dogs, they punish their kids. Rabbits do not. That's not how they communicate the best practices. So it's not within their vocabulary to understand and relate something bad you're doing to them now to something previously that they did before that. That's crazy. I never knew that. Yeah, you can teach them things, but you just don't teach them it with violence. So like all of my rabbits are litter trained, but I didn't ever have to punish them to get there. Not once. Like rabbits naturally mark their territory in where you enter the room. So they would lay their poops and peas, some of them, at the entrance to the burrow just so you could smell who lives there, so you know who the area belongs to, right? So they naturally want to pee and poo in a doorway. So when you put down a litter tray, they like to sit and eat whilst they pee and poo. So if you put a tray full of hay near an entrance, they will sit there just naturally and pee and poo in that corner. But if that doesn't work out as just them training themselves, what you can do is you can have them in a very, very large cage with sawdust. And they will, because they're clean animals, they won't just pee and poo everywhere. They'll pick a corner. So you just keep them in the cage for like 2 or 3 days till they pick a corner. Then you open the cage and give them free roam, and whenever they need to pee, they will come back to that corner and pee and poo in it. And then what you do eventually is you just throw out the cage entirely and you just put a litter box exactly in that position where the corner of that cage was, and they will keep coming back to it to pee and poo. Really easy. All you have to do is make sure that is positioned. When you start litter training them, you position it so the cage is near a doorway. Yeah. So you don't shout at them, you don't hit them, you don't punish them. Do rabbits display human behavior? I mean, it's human to be scared of loud noises. They jump if you crash your hands together. They apologize if they've done something bad. Like if they bite you, they'll come and nudge you gently with their nose to say sorry. Like they have little behaviors. So they have apologies. They have greetings. So they say hello, but they just don't say it in English. Like the way you say hello to a rabbit is they nose boop you, and if they don't, because you're high up, because your face is all the way up here, they might nose boop the tip of your toe. For example, in bunny, you go like this and you pull away, and that's a greeting. Like in the same way, you wouldn't shake someone's hand for ages. You don't go like this and just stay there. If you do that, the bunny will nose boop you gently and then flick their ears and be like, "Whoa, what the hell? Why are you still here?" You have to pull away from the boop. What's your advice for being a dick? Being a dick, being a twatty, being a 20 twat, 20 twatty to being a 24-year-old man that's lost his job and a relationship that at the same time. It's been like 4 months now, but life has slowed down a lot and not much progress happened since then, just a shutdown. Okay, I think it's natural to come in and out of jobs. It's natural to come in and out of relationships throughout your life. The average amount of relationships a lot of people have in the UK is around 4. So, like most people throughout human history will go through a breakup. The trouble is, it's really awful when you lose any one of these things. A job can be really important, a relationship can be important. It's awful to lose both at once. Like it's awful to lose one bollock. It's worse to lose both bollocks on the same day, right? But to reframe that, if someone said to you, if you're going to lose your bollocks, do you want us to take one or both today? In that situation, if you knew you were going to lose both, you'd want them to be gone on the same day. You'd want it over with, right? So if things weren't going to work out for you with this relationship and this job, at least it was a clean cut. That's another way to look at it. Another way to rephrase it, right? And the fact of the matter is that sometimes the things that you lose are your greatest gains. It just depends on what you do next. Okay? So for me, I had a relationship and I broke it off and I was devastated. I was so sad. I was with this person for like 7 years. I really hoped I was going to make it work, and I finally had to call it quits and be like, fuck this. It is just never going to work. I was devastated. I was like, is anyone ever going to love me again? I'm so isolated. I don't even know how to make friends. How will my life be okay after this? And I was going through a lot. It was a heavy time. I had to deal with a lot of financial stuff because he stole a bunch of money from me and my business. My business was struggling because he stole a bunch of money, and I had to rebuild very, very slowly to get my life back on track. So everything was thrown to the wind. And 4 months is not long enough to recover from such a loss. I'm sorry. Some people, it takes like 6 months to a year to get anywhere near back on track for just their job, and you lost your job and relationship at the same time. It's probably going to take a while for things to settle. But now I look back at breaking up with my ex and I'm like, holy fuck, my life could never have been this awesome if he was still in my life. He sabotaged me all the fucking time. Every time I made progress on anything, he'd send me 5 steps back. He hated it. Like, if I stood there in the mirror, I had such low self-esteem, and one day I looked in the mirror and I went, you know what, I think I actually look good today. It was the first time I'd ever felt that way in my life, and he went, you don't look that good. Get over yourself, as he passed by. He hated anything I had, and so when I built a business and it was doing well, he was angry at me. He said, I can't get over the feelings of jealousy that you get to stay and lay in bed and sleep as long as you want. Well, I have to get up at 6 a.m. and work. It's like, I work longer hours than you on my business, and he was still jealous and angry. And he's like, put me on your business so I won't resent you. He came onto the business, he trashed it, stole a bunch of money. Stupid man. And so I was like, oh my God, you're just unbearable. And when I got rid of him, my life just went immediately upward. Like, whenever I made friends when I was with him, he would immediately DM them. And I think he was just jealous and sabotaging me, but he'd try to look really good. So what he'd do is go, oh my God, I can't believe she's finally made a friend. She doesn't have any of those. So thank you so much for being her friend despite all of her special needs and her character quirks. It's so good that she has somebody else looking out for her when she's just so weird. And I completely, like, and he was making out like I was some special case, but also trying to look like a supportive boyfriend. And he would do shit like this all the time. He would sabotage everything. He was very jealous and weird, right? And so as soon as I broke up with him, I'd been struggling to make friends for years. As soon as I broke up with him, I suddenly had a friend group. I suddenly had self-esteem. I was making more money than ever, getting full night's sleep. Like, My life was amazing after he was gone. Amazing. It was the best decision ever. At the time I made it, it felt like a defeat. Like I was throwing away 7 years of my life. I needed to create space to grow into because what I had wasn't working, wasn't gelling. What is meant for you will find you. What is not meant for you, you'll work for every day and it will still not feel like enough. So now you found what doesn't work for you. You found what's not meant for you. That's great because you've cleared some space. You can fill it with what is meant for you. You can take some time to self-reflect. You can take some time to grow so that the next time you build something even better. There is meant to be still spaces. There are going to be times where you're rushing through life and lots of things change all at once, and there is meant to be some still spaces. It sounds like you need this still space. There is a reason why you lost your girlfriend. There is a reason why you lost your job. You need this time to take a look at your current approach and replace it with something new. There are parts of you that don't gel well with the things that you want from life. You are going to have to make some decisions about who you are. Getting a new job and jumping into a new job would distract you from the personal development you have to make before you go there. Because if you carry the same person into the next job, you'll lose that too. Still space is a time for growth. It is just as important as the movement. So you're rushing the movement, you need the still space. This is constructive. Embrace it. That's beautiful sentiment. You're right. When it feels right, it will be right. Exactly. Don't rush. People's bodies are not emotional springboards. Do not try to get over a last breakup by bouncing your body off a new person. Rebounds, nobody wants to be a rebound bound. Nobody wants to be just someone you don't really love but need to, bounce away from some feelings you're trying to escape. Don't bury any of this in someone else's vagina. Just grow. Work on you. Focus on you. Bitch! What would you do if you had 4 arms? I would make them all fucking hench. I would immediately start working out twice as hard. I would want all of those arms to look as cool as possible because everyone's gonna be looking at them. Like, there ain't hiding no 4 arms. I don't know if I thanked you, Kalinka, but thank you ever so much. She would become an Indian goddess. I kind of feel like if I was a goddess, you would honor me by planting a tree. Once a year on your birth, you honor me and you get my blessings for your next year of existence if you plant a tree and if you make sure that that tree flourishes. And so, like, you will get my greatest blessing if you manage to plant 100 trees, right? You'll be the most revered in your village. People will be the kindest to you if you plant 100 flourishing trees that feed and serve your town, right? And so people wouldn't only focus on taking care of their environment and making sure that, the environment was perfect for their trees. They would also take care of themselves because they knew that I would not smile upon them fully and they wouldn't get the greatest benefit from me until they had survived the longest they possibly could. It would incentivize people to love their world, but also love themselves and take care of their health. I would also curse people horribly. What kind of curses? Oh, you know how, like, you get an STD from, like, having sex? Well, I would give you an ATD where like an abuse transmitted disease where like your genitals fall off and you have like horrific bubbling, like scalding blisters all over your face if you are cruel and if you like commit domestic violence or like kick a cat or whatever. And the only way to fix it is if you are like, if you rescue 1,000 lives from things you did not cause. You owe me 1,000 lives for every abusive act. So you better become a fireman in your free time. You better go do some fucking rescue work abroad and like save people from natural disasters and shit for years before those blisters are gonna heal. You have to wear your shame until you have compensated for your shitty behavior. And you still have to look after those trees. And I'll do things like if you get into a relationship under false pretext, your piss will hurt and feel like fire until you come clean. So, like, if you get with someone because you lied about your wages or your body count or something, if you told someone a story that is totally a lie to get them to sleep with you, your piss is gonna hurt until you come clean. And if it causes them pain and that pain continues after you come clean, the piss doesn't stop hurting until they are okay again, until they've gotten over it. So if they never get over it, you're just gonna hate every piss until you die. What about painkillers? They will not work. This is a curse. It's not it's not a neurological condition or something. It's not like it's not a physical condition. It's my curse. There are no ways to get out of my curse. There are just the rules. Fair weather, lots of food, and safety and health for anyone who lives in the biggest forest. So if my rule is you owe me 100 trees for my blessing, then the towns and cities that worship me will be surrounded by massive forests. They'll be green cities. People will have loads of trees in their gardens. People will be proud of their 100, 200, 300-year-old trees. Yeah. And if I was the goddess of the afterlife, I would make you your victims next. So if you beat your wife her whole life, for example, you'll be born as your wife next time. You aren't soulmates. You're the same soul, bitch. Surprise! So kind of like the egg theory, I guess. Yeah, I would take your soul where it needed to learn its most needed lesson. So if you abused animals your whole life, well, you're about to have 17 consecutive life sentences to being your own pets. You're gonna be the goldfish you flushed down the toilet, even when it was still alive. You're gonna be the hamster you neglected and starved to death. The breeders are gonna have to be every pet they deformed. How do I trust my partner when they say they love me? I find it hard to believe when my previous experiences were abusive and always kept secrets. So I don't think that that's a problem with your partner. I don't think your partner can solve it, and I don't think I can solve it for you either. Learning from an entire lifetime of mistrust, you have a self-protective doubt. And after everything you've gone through, that's reasonable, bitch. Like, that is such a reasonable conclusion. If the most threatening person in your life has always been your partner, if the most emotionally damaging person you've ever had in your life is your partner, of course you're going to desire love, but fear every partner because you have so much lived experience to teach you the most threatening person, the most dangerous animal you will ever bring into your house is the one that says I love you. And unfortunately, it's not a blanket statement. Unfortunately, there are people out there who can love you truthfully and not mean you any harm. They exist. You just can't tell the difference between them anymore because they say the same things. This means that you have to make a journey to be at peace with being vulnerable, to be at peace with the fact that there is a chance that this person could be just as damaging as the last one, but you'll be okay either way. And you won't find anyone who isn't damaging unless you give people the chance to damage you, unfortunately. And this is all a really slow, long emotional process, not a rational one, which means that a therapist can talk you through it and help you build those tools, but it's not very likely that your partner can do it or help you build those tools. So if you're not building them yourself and it's bringing you a lot of doubt and terror, now's the time to book yourself into therapy. Because what you're feeling isn't irrational, it's just not correct. And no amount of reason will save you when it's buried in your emotions. How'd you feel about Gengar? He's pretty cool. Me and Gengar are cool. You mean the Pokemon, right? How did you get so smart? I didn't. I just lived. I'm just as dumb as everybody else. There's plenty I don't know. But I have had to become at peace with my own vulnerability too. I have gone through the lived experience of having been betrayed and let down by the people that I put my trust and love in. I think that's a normal character arc for most people. At some point, you're gonna give your heart to someone who shouldn't be left alone with it, who isn't very responsible. And so I think basic lived experience is either going to teach you how to be really good at handling this situation or teach you to be very traumatized and handle every situation badly from here on out. And that difference is up to you. We live in the best time ever to build the right tools for this situation. If you lived 100, 200, 300 years ago, you would go through all the same relationship drama with none of the support and information. Now, billions of people can contribute their lived experiences and what worked for them, and you can look at it in an instant online, and you can speak to people whose entire life's work and qualifications is just helping you through situations like this. That was not available to most of the humans throughout all of human history. I know what you feel like you're going through is hard, but now is the easiest time in all of human history to go through it. How can I freeze myself for the even better future? Well, we kind of know that there is going to be a peak, and we may have hit it in terms of human intelligence. So now, for the first time ever, we're declining overall in human intelligence. So there will be a peak in how easy life is, and that might be coming for us too. Because to be honest with you, we're destroying the planet we rely on to have such an easy, stable, comfortable life. So with that stability gone, a lot of the things we take for granted today are gonna be gone too. So freezing yourself for the future might be a really bad idea because you might wake up in a worse place. Much, much worse place. Hey, whoever you are, thank you so much for the gift subs. I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping me going, sweetheart. I bookmarked your thoughts on being humble in a two-part clip a few years ago and watch it every few months. Thank you so fucking much. Hell yeah! Fuck being humble! I'm glad you agree, and I'm glad it's still helping you. Yeah, that's a really good review of your advice. What, just fuck being humble? Yep. Fuck being humble. For real. Total waste of time. I agree. You just stopped? Yeah, because today is an advice day, and we talk about the things that people ask for advice on. Yeah. Relationship advice. I don't know if that makes me sound like an asshole, but I have a female friend who's very close with me. We share a great connection in common, and we've dabbled in the idea of a relationship, but she's asexual, and I'm someone who likes that type of sexual intimacy and connection. Yet she has said in a relationship she'd be willing to participate, but it really wouldn't do anything for her. So I thought the thought it wouldn't sit right with me. Do I just leave things as is or meet her halfway? I kind of feel like a person that you don't want to have sex with is just a friend. There can be asexual relationships that are romantic, that are asexual but romantic. For me personally, I would never fuck someone who doesn't want to fuck me. I would never ever sleep with someone because they just wanted to keep me with them. And I think I would rather be friends with someone who doesn't want to have sex with me. Because you can live with someone, you can share finance with someone, you can go traveling with someone who is your friend. There are women who find their soulmate platonically in another woman, and they raise their kids together, live in the same household together, go traveling together, do all these wonderful things together. They are best friends for life. They are soulmates in a way, just they're not having sex with each other, right? And I feel like that you can have these deep, loving connections with someone who you don't want to fuck. Yeah. And so for me, as someone who I would prefer to have sex in a relationship, I enjoy sex and I think it's a beautiful thing. And I would like to have a sexual element to my existence. I would not get with an asexual because I would not want to deny myself or essentially screw someone against their will. Screw someone who does not want to really do this, who's not enjoying it, who's checked out. Because the difference between sex and masturbation is that the other person is enjoying it too. You get to enjoy something with someone, right? Because masturbation would beat sex otherwise. Because you know your body better than other people, right? Like you find it stimulating because someone else is there and you're both enjoying it too. I think if you remove the other person's enjoyment, you might as well just have a wank. Exactly. And so, but also, I just don't like the idea of coercing someone into feeling like they have to fuck you. I don't want to be a chore on somebody's list. I want to be something that someone works up to and enjoys and like what's the word? Looks forward to. I wouldn't be like, "Come on, wife, spread your legs. It's time to do your duty." Fuck that. Why would I do that to someone when vibrators exist? Yeah. So if it were me, I would not pass go. I would be like, let's just be friends. This is awesome as it is. We're both getting what we want if we're friends. Sometimes you can MacGyver a relationship in this situation. Like maybe you could have casual sex and then you're married to your partner and you love your partner, but you just have sex with other people. Or like, there's things like that that you can do if you really want to make it work. But for me, I think I would personally just have a relationship with somebody who matches my sexual intentions. And I feel like, an asexual person would definitely benefit from being with another asexual person so that they do not have to have sex that they are not enjoying and do not want to do. Obligation sex is not sex, in my opinion, personally. Reluctant sex is not consent either. Yeah, I only take enthusiastic consent as real. Everything else can is not consent to me. What if the asexual partner wants intimacy like cuddling but no sex? Yeah, that's an asexual relationship. That's a sexless relationship. Cuddling and intimacy, that's romantic. A lot of asexual people are not aromantic and will happily have romantic engagements in their relationships. There are relationships where the two people cuddle, the two people kiss, they just never have sex. I'm a lesbian and I'm interested in someone who's bi. I struggle with this because I'm intimidated by the fact that they like parts that I don't have. And she was with her husband for 17 years, high school sweethearts. But she also likes girls and has already been in one relationship with a girl. I really want to get past this mindset I have of being intimidated by the fact that she's bi. I've dated women who were with men prior, but came out as lesbian. I don't know, because I don't know if her husband felt intimidated by the fact that she was attracted to parts he doesn't have either. Do you think that heterosexual men, are like, I would sleep with this girl, but she also likes pussies and I'm intimidated by the fact that I will never have one? right? I don't think that ever happens with bi women. I really, really do doubt that any reason, like, as a bi woman, I think, like, that usually doesn't cross a straight dude's mind when they date a bi woman. And I feel like you should have the audacity to be like, you know, what I have is enough. And clearly they think so too because they've chosen me, right? I think as a bi woman, there are perks to both sides of intimacy with a woman or a man. One of the things that makes female intimacy absolutely fucking amazing is that a lot of women have really great reload speed. Things don't have to end with her orgasm, right? So you can take things exactly as long and as slow as you want. And that is a perk that men do not have. I find it weird that anyone would be worried that someone with a penis has an advantage sexually because they kind of don't, right? A man has to have a stellar, like an absolutely fantastic personality to compete with a woman for me because their dick is never going to be able to compete because dicks are not resizable, but strap-ons are, right? Somebody who has a pussy is going to have an advantage in Eden, right? I feel like not having a penis is an advantage in sex with a woman, not a disadvantage. And the stats back us up, okay? Studies have taken into account how satisfied people are having sex. Overall, if you're having sex with a woman, doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman or any gender, right? You are going to be 99% likely to have an orgasm yourself and feel satisfied with the interaction. If you are dating someone with a penis, doesn't matter whether you have a penis too or not, there is a big chance you will not orgasm. A much bigger chance that you will not orgasm. There is a much bigger chance that you are not sexually satisfied overall, okay? So the idea of a woman getting with a bi woman and being like, will she still like me even though I don't have a penis is absurd from my perspective because the science doesn't back you up. My lived experience doesn't back you up. And this person had a 17-year relationship with a man. And since then, they have chosen you. And they've chosen you after having already had experiences with women. So if they were at the point in their life where like, nothing could really compete with these parts, right? Why would they have had 2 relationships with women since? I don't think that would happen. And so for me, like, if I was in your position, I would trust that she's chosen you and that she loves you and that she's attracted to you and that having a penis does not give you any advantage in any way, shape, or form sexually. It doesn't. Yeah, I do know that there is this fear floating around that bisexual women will always miss men or male parts or will leave women for men. And I think that lesbians specifically fear this because they haven't dated men. As a bi woman, if I got with a woman, that thought would never cross my mind. So I don't need to impress a woman, just be myself. All I'm saying, sweetheart, is that almost 1,000,000% of all women, I can say this for, okay? It's weird. I try not to speak for women. In this case, I'm going to speak for women. If a woman chooses you, it was never for your dick. It was never for your dick. I can buy a dick. I can buy a dick of any shape or size. I could buy the perfect dick for me. No one is dating you for your dick. No one. Dick is a saturated market. There is so much more on offer than there will ever be demand for. If you are loved, it is not for your penis. Dick is common loot. Oh, it absolutely is. Do not worry, no matter what you're working with, you could have long dick, short dick, wide dick, no dick, doesn't matter. You can find love, and you can find someone who absolutely loves mating with you, no matter what dick you have or whether you have it or not. Dick is just not something that people get in a relationship for. Yeah, nobody loves you for your dick. Nobody loves you for your dick. You could have an awesome dick. It's still not the reason. It's still not the fucking reason. You say sad but true. I would find this liberating if I was a guy. If I was a guy, I'd be like, you mean that my size doesn't really matter? Yes, I mean your size doesn't really matter. Okay? There are other things that do. Especially with a bi woman. Because I don't even need you to have a dick. You could have had no dick this whole time. So why would the size matter? Don't get me wrong, there are kind of deal breaker dicks. There are deal breaker dicks. There's never been a dick in this world, ever, that has been like, no matter who you are, I will still love you as long as I get access to this. Right? There's never been like one of those for me. There have been deal breaker dicks. There have been dicks where I have seen a picture of it and been like, whoever you are, it's not worth going to hospital for. I'm sorry. A deal breaker dick is too big. I don't think there's anything too small is not real, but too big is definitely an issue. But I hope what I've said, I don't know if you knew I was bi, but I am, and I am just perplexed. I'm just gonna stand by it. I think the only reason why women, like lesbians, get anxiety about competing with men for bi women is literally just because they've never dated men. Like, I feel like women have an advantage over men in the bi community. I think they do. I think women are in higher demand, but a lot of bi women end up with men because men are just more widely available. So, like, in your life, straight men will advertise their sexuality really, really brightly. It's very easy to know when a straight man is straight, okay? Because they rarely, like, for me, it's because they rarely stare at any other thing other than my body. Like, they're struggling to make eye contact with me all the time. They're looking at all the other places on me. Like, I can tell when a guy, very blatantly, before he's opened his mouth, how straight he is and how available he is. So, like, with women, it's a bit more complicated because it's rude to ask, and you're not always sure who is gay or not. And women are nice. Like, there are plenty of men who'll only be nice to a woman if they're attracted to her. Women are nice to everyone. It's a bit more tricky to secure a woman, but women are the prize. Everyone wants a woman. Like, women are awesome. Never think that being a woman puts you at disadvantage to being a man. Ever. I'm very gay from my girlfriend. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful, Ginger. People only think all women are size queens because they are a loud minority. I I guess that works out. I do kind of feel like there is this thing where if you have an insecurity, you will look for confirmation that everyone is thinking about your insecurity. I've noticed that if you're insecure about your height, you will remember all the times that women have said, yeah, I like a tall guy. You will never remember the oodles of women out there who are like, I don't really give a shit about height. Or you'll go, I don't believe you. And I think that applies to everyone with everything that they're insecure about. Like, psychologists will back me up here. If you're insecure about anything, you could have a mole on your forehead and you will look for confirmation that everyone is looking at it and everyone hates your mole. And if anyone compliments you on your mole, you'll forget it really easily. But if somebody hates on your mole, you will remember it for the rest of your life and be scared that everyone feels that way. And so people who are insecure about their willies will remember the lady who's like, don't want no short man, but they will not remember how the fuck they inherited this dick. Like, there is a lot of biological evidence. Like, no short dicks would exist on this planet if people didn't enjoy them. Amazing how we always talk about dick. People bring it up a lot. What can I say? Some women lie about it to make men feel better, or people do in general. Part of the virtue signaling. Size queen is a subjective preference, really, not an absolute. So I do think that people just mistrust women. So if you just say some women lie about it to make men feel better, you're setting yourself up to just never believe a single woman who says they don't care. That creates a bias in your mind that there are women who care about dick and women who lie about caring about dick. And that's it. Like the whole, there are people who pee in the shower and people who lie about peeing in the shower. Dirty little liars. That's it. Right? And so, like, you are crafting a reality where you're like, I hate my dick size, and I'm scared that it's too small, and I won't receive any feedback that will make me feel fine about it. And the funniest thing about that is, like, every single relationship I've had with a man, they've been insecure about their size, and they've been fine. They have been like, I've been like, you think you're small? What the fuck are you? What's wrong with you? And it's porn. 99% of the reason why men are insecure about their dick is porn, because like they're watching the biggest things get crammed into the tiniest things possible, and they never actually take the time to Google the average dick size for their country. Go and do that now if you have any insecurities. Because the truth of the matter is that a lot more guys are either average or large on the scale, but still insecure and terrified that the dick's too small. Oh, the average is actually 5.16 inches. Yeah. And I bet you a lot of these guys are like crying because they're not like 10 inches. And the thing with that is like a lot of guys have this weird thing where they'll be insecure, they'll be scared that. So if a woman says, you're the perfect size for me, you're not too big, you're not too small, a lot of men will take that as an insult because they'll go, that means you've had bigger than me. And they'll be upset. They'll be like, that is not a compliment. That means that you've had someone bigger than me. And it's like, well, she just said that you're the perfect size because too big would hurt. So you'd rather hurt her than pleasure her just so you could get one up on an imaginary man you've never met? Like, some people just take it too far. Yeah. So wherever you are on the scale, just know it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Mwah! Have you ever gotten with a man because you feared him? No. No, that's typically fear is not usually something that is an attractive quality because as a like a lot of I don't intend to have kids, but a lot of women do intend to have kids. If you're scared of your partner, he's not suitable to have around kids. Like that is one of the priorities you need to think about is a man should make you feel safe. And they should make you feel emotionally safe too. If they make you feel insecure or sad or nervous, you're less likely to want to sleep with them too. Like I swear a lot of heterosexual bed death where like the man is complaining that he's not getting as much sex is because she has to trust you. She has to like who you are. She has to feel like happy and can like feel good about herself around you. So if you erode her confidence and comfort around you, you will erode her attraction and her willingness to get naked around you, etc., right? And so, yeah, I think fearing someone is like an off-putting thing, obviously. No one wants to fear the person they have to share a house with, share meals with, share a bed with, share parenting with. It's why negging doesn't work. Hobbitkin says, my girlfriend just repeated this to me about just go and buying the perfect dick, and holy shit, you blew my mind when and opened my third eye. I never thought about it like that. Thank you. Perfect. I'm glad I could help. But yeah, like, for most bisexual women, women are the prize. Like, men are more available, but usually a lot of bisexual women are like, yeah, women are like, I probably have an advantage over men. It's so funny to me because a lot of straight guys would never think that a lesbian could compete with them. Like a lot of straight guys will not think, oh, I would get with that bisexual girl, but what if she misses pussy? What if she misses women? Right? They never think that. And yet, usually men are at a disadvantage when competing with women for a woman. So, like, I know it's an anxiety that lesbian people have, but I'll never understand it. Never. Never. Do you still have a PO box? I used to run a candle company, but I had to close it for financial reasons, and I have remaining stock. I want to dispose of it. This isn't an advertisement. The company's been dissolved. That's incredibly fucking sweet. I have Tourette syndrome. I'm sure there is somebody out there who would fucking love your candles. Maybe you can donate it to charity stores so they can sell them to make money for charity. It's so sweet that you want to give it away. I think like multiple charities would probably love your candles. I did close my PO box. I was being given a lot more stuff than I could reasonably keep. But it was wild, and I do miss having a PO box. I do miss people being able to send things in. I have some crazy stories about my PO box as well. But yeah, I think if I were in your shoes, I would be giving to charity stores because they'd probably love your candles. You could passively do so much good. Funny, Luth Lane. I've read your comment. I recently listened to a comedian say that it was such an awakening for her in that specific context. She was like, "You mean I could have been licking ice cream this whole time, but I've been swallowing swords?" You blew my mind. The thing is, yep. The thing is, yeah. They call it a job for a reason. You try to get through it at the end of the day. Yeah, you do have to talk, psych yourself through it. Like, it's not like the other thing. This is another reason why I'm like, why would lesbians think they need to compete with men? How would you build a dating platform for a community like yours, if possible? A community like mine? What do you mean? Which community? People with Tourette's? The Twitch one. Oh, so I mean, I mean this in the most lovely way possible. I mean this with so much love. But I don't think you could make the most I think if you made the most successful, relatable dating platform in the world for these people, a bunch of them would still be single, you know? I found out recently you can buy double graves. You can buy a grave for yourself that is double, so it has a space next to it for your partner. A lot of people in my chat are buying single graves. Absolutely, when the time comes. And that's okay. I don't think it's the dating apps that need changing there. I don't think that's gonna fix it per se. And like part of it is that many people are just happy being alone. Many people are just not looking for a relationship, not up for a relationship, and are not in any rush to change that. That's absolutely fine. The rest of you, I've heard your pickup lines. You're buying a grave for one. You can say that pickup line on any dating website. You're buying a grave for one. Double seems very romantic. Yeah, but like at the same time, there's so many variables, right? Like you could die with the love of your life and they could get cremated and you'll have overbought land. You'll have bought a plot you didn't need. Or like, what are you gonna do if you buy a double plot and there's no room around you and your kid wants to be buried next to you? You know? I don't know. There's just too many variables there. I'm gonna get buried under a tree. I'm gonna be buried raw. I've stipulated, don't you dare embalm me or preserve me. You can freeze me at most. Don't do any other of that shit. Put me in a sack and put me in the dirt. I want to rot. I want to feed the earth again. Don't fill me with poison. I got enough microplastics in me as it is. I don't need no embalming fluid and stuff. I'm already a poison package. Let me degrade and return to everything. That's what I want. I want to rot. I want a Viking send off. See, I'm too considerate for a Viking send off because I do not want to send a burning ship to like carry loads of burnt crispy meat that sinks into the water because then all of that fucking trash and hot fucking wood and ash and my rotten carcass pollutes the water that animals live in, that fish have to breathe. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to pollute the ocean. I want to give back all the shit I borrowed to be me. So I want a considerate death. Apparently, this is the reason for the difference in suicide. So, like, women are more likely to die in ways that are easy to clean up because they think about the people who are going to have to find them. And men are more likely to do things that leave a lot of mess because they don't think about the people that they're leaving behind and they don't care how traumatized or how much they have to clean up. So, I am a typical woman in this instance, and I'm thinking I would like my remains to be dealt with in a way where it doesn't net good. And I think feeding a beautiful tree would be a net good. Especially if it was a nut tree. I'd like some squirrels to live all up in me. And they'll carry my little nuts and they will make little forests elsewhere out of it. So it'll be a really good. I want to be buried under a nut tree. You know there's things in the ocean that eat meat, right? Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, that a boat isn't made of meat. And also, like, a lot of people are pushed into lakes and things like that, which means that it's completely different. But yeah, I think if I wanted to commend my flesh to be eaten, I would like be stripped naked and put on one of those towers where like the vultures can come eat you. I don't think I would like put a bunch of burning boat in the ocean for that. What about donating your organs? For now, I think I've decided I'm not going to donate my organs. And I think the reason why is because I have so much wrong with me. And at present, a lot of those conditions are not very well understood. So I do not want to accidentally make people more sick when there are other people's organs that are completely healthy. So I have MCAS, EDS, achalasia, all these and Tourette syndrome, and all these things that are poorly understood conditions. And I wouldn't want to negatively impact someone who's just gone through hell and desperately wants to survive, just for them to get really sick again. I have complete kidney failure. I can tell you it's not fun. I'm so sorry you're having to go through that, Gav. I hope that things go well for you. My dad was on the waiting list for a new kidney when he passed. I'm so sorry you have to go through all of this. And I hope that you find a good donor if you need one. Have you ever thought about donating any part of your body to science? In that case, I'm thinking about freezing my eggs and donating them personally. So I don't, like I said, I have a lot of health conditions, so I don't think my eggs are going to be a good thing to donate. Not just for reproducing, but even for science. Because even if you could do something with my eggs for testing, the results might be changed by the fact that I'm so genetically abnormal. So I don't know if the results would actually contribute in a good way. The next thing to consider is that I am now a well-known person on the internet, so I cannot donate my body to science. Because my naked, helpless body should not be donated to a bunch of science nerds now that I am a famous person. Could you imagine what would happen if, say, I don't know, um, who's the famous blonde lady from the past? I've forgotten her name. I could see her face. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, her body took 4 hours to get to, I think it was the morgue from the hospital, when it should have taken 15 minutes. I'm not donating my body to science. If I was just a normal looking dude, I would totally donate it to science. I'd be so fine with that. It would bring me a bit of joy, in fact. I'm a lady on Twitch. There's no way I can anymore. Do you think you'll go back and do animal rescue work? Yeah, I think I will. I just that's something like it would have really benefited me in a lot of different directions to talk about the work that I used to do and the organizations I used to work with. But I've deliberately kept that to myself all this time because one day I'd like to go back to it. And I feel like if today I said, "Hey everyone, I quit the internet. I'm going back to charity work." I feel like immediately there'd be a bunch of weird like weirdos who would join the charity just to follow and observe me and for no other reason. Yeah, it would make it weird, and the thing is, there was already an issue with a lot of these charities I used to work with, I worked with before, and most of us were women, and when men joined, they were often just trying to seduce one of the women in the group, and it would take a lot of resources and time to train them, and as soon as they didn't get laid, they would just leave. Like, there were a lot of guys who thought, "I'll take an interest in this thing that this hot girl does." And then we'll get to know each other and we'll really like each other and she'll see what's great about me and we'll get together. A lot of guys had that and it was really annoying because we would take time to train them and they would fuck off, right? And that would deduct from our time and resources for the animals. So, yeah, like we already had that issue happening. I would not want to contribute to that by telling everyone where I'm going to be after I leave streaming. So, yeah, I probably will because I really enjoyed it and I miss it and it gave me a sense of purpose and it made me feel really satisfied with the effort and time that I put in. So, yeah, of course, of course. I love you, you slut. I love you, slut. We should let the animals decide on the new hires. I actually would be on board with this. They have pretty good instincts. Uh-uh. How did you get into animal rescue? I mean, there was this one time my mom did a lot of animal rescue when she was younger, and then she got like, her health got worse, and she wasn't able to do it anymore, and one of her friends from that time came and, fixed her pipes, like, fixed the boiler pipes, and he was like, "Hey, why haven't we seen you in years? Wanna come back out and do more rescue stuff?" And she was like, "Nah, I'm too old. But here, take my daughter." It felt very biblical. And, he looked over at me and I was, like, eating, and I was like, "What?" And she was like, "You'd love to go and save these animals, right?" I was like, I guess." And he was like, "Cool, I will pick you up at 5 in the morning in, like, a week." I was like, and before I knew it, I was being driven out into the middle of nowhere, where there's no phone signal by a random man I've never spoken to go and live with a bunch of ex-convicts in a barn, and that was wild. It was very character building. Saved a bunch of animals. And I was like, you know, I was concerned. I'll admit it. I was very concerned when I arrived, but I'll be back. And they all laughed. Isn't that dangerous? Oh yeah. Very. Thanks, Mom. But it turned out fine. Would you ever consider bringing back the mental health podcast, even if it's just featuring random guests to interview here and there? So I have thought about this many times and I would love to. The only barricade is often that video does exceptionally well for them. And that is like, I can turn up for stuff. I just can't plan it. And the funny thing is, a lot of the other people I've met in the industry don't plan a lot of shit either. They have someone else who plans it for them, they show up. I do not have the planner. If I had the planner who could arrange and reach out to these people and get them in a specific place at a specific time and know what to expect, I could have a podcast with them. Oh, it's freezing. Damn. I wonder what's happening. I am getting like a little red light, but I don't know what it means. Yeah, my cyst, my everything is just breaking. Oh no. Are we holding? I don't know if it's worth holding, to be honest with you. I might just go to bed. Maybe this is my sign. Fuck. Oh, are we back already? Hello?